Today's feature from South Ozone Park, Shalimar Gardens. Disappointed in her last start as a 1-5 favorite. She could be just as short a price again today. In Hot Springs, Arkansas, we'll have the late pick 5 from the Friday program, including a sprint showdown in the feature. A blown start derailed Little Tootsie's 2-race win streak last time. With a better break, can she avenge her loss to remain competition inside Enjoy's Rocket? And the reigning Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint champion, CC, returns to the site of one of her biggest moments. We'll preview Saturday's Azeri from Oaklawn. All that and more coming up on this Friday edition of America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Sun shining here in South Ozone Park, New York. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Good to be with you on this Friday afternoon in this feature. Shalimar Gardens, a 2-5 favorite, just got beat at this very same condition at 1-5 last start.
I think if she's 2-5, I may have to bet every cent I own on her. I think she looks about 1-9 to me. She was against the track last time, big inside bias last time. Looked like we had one today, the first 2 races, but not so. I mean, Greg, it's rare that you look at a race, especially an allowance race on paper, and a horse has the kind of advantage she has. Because on paper, she might be odds on to win this race by 8 lengths. On paper. And we know they run races on TV sets, not me.
We'll see. And the bias today, not going to be an issue.
Yeah, well, the first 2 races, it really seemed to be favoring inside runners, and I'm not sure it wasn't, but we've seen outside moves do well in the next 2 races. So, as usual, I start the show out confused, but glad to be back here with you. You know, we spent a lot of time together, but it's been 4 whole days. It's a long time, going through withdrawal.
You missed me, didn't you?
I did. No, I did. I'm glad we're back talking about our races. Oaklawn.
I am too. We got a big weekend too.
Yeah.
Big racing coming up at Oaklawn as well. We have the Tampa Bay Derby coming up on Saturday. We'll have live coverage. It's going to be a fun weekend. Classic Causeway. See if he can back up that performance in his 3-year-old debut.
Yeah, I mean, he's once again very much the horse to beat. There are a couple of new shooters in this race. We'll see how they do. But he's probably the speed again, and he may just be too good for these. But, you know, I'll tell you something. Watching that race again, the New York bred Shipsational, he didn't get lucky to get second. He actually ran extremely well in there, so maybe he takes another step forward.
All right, we'll preview that one a little bit later on in the program. Right now, we're going to head out to Hot Springs, Arkansas with our Hall of Famer, Gary Stevens. Gary.
Yeah, guys, and Joel Rosario making his return today after a scary fall last week. And last week's Fountain of Youth Stakes hit the ground hard. He fell the week before in Saudi Arabia, so I spoke with Joel this morning. Joel said that he's a little bit sore, still sore, and he's going to be sore for a while. But he just rode in the 3rd race here on my favorite uncle. He finished second in it. Look, Joel Rosario didn't look any worse for the wear. He finished strong. Horse got through down on the inside and wound up, he finished second. But he looked good on the horse, switch sticks using both hands, and didn't look like he'd been in any kind of uncomfort from his our discomfort from this fall last week. He's riding Joy's Rocket in our feature race today. Should be a short price in there. Just a handful for him today. He rides 3. Got rid of one of them already, so 2 more to go for Joel, guys. We'll see you a little bit later.
He had just that incredible year that resulted in his, thank you, Gary's first ever Eclipse Award, and he was remarkably pretty much injury-free until the very end of the year, and now he's sustained a minor one here, luckily.
Luckily, I mean, that incident obviously at Gulfstream was scary, and, you know, I concerned, texted Joel Saturday night. He texted me back like absolutely nothing was going on. I said, "How you okay?" And he said, "I'm fine. How are you doing? Everything okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And better to hear that you're doing well, and glad to see him back. Such a good guy and such a great rider.
It's so well-deserved that he won that first ever Eclipse. Long time coming. Probably should have been, well, his agent believes there could have been 1 or 2 more in his career already at this point. Today's race is brought to you in part by Claiborne. And we'll have races 5 through 8 ahead. Fast here in New York, and we're fast at Oaklawn as well. We have that late pick 5 beginning in race 5. Late pick 4, as you see, they're starting in that 6th on the card. They have a couple of good, very good races, competitive sprints coming up this afternoon. You can, of course, play it all by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Take advantage of that offer, $200 deposit match bonus with the code STAKES200. Got a new code to punch in for new members, STAKES200. Go to NairaBets.com. Again, download the app as well and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Race 5 here in New York kicks off the late pick 4. It is a 6-furlong sprint, New York bred maiden special weight. And right now it's outside Bavarian Cream, the favorite, who was 8-1 first time out, a distant 3rd in the debut.
Well, she ran extremely well that day. She didn't break super sharp. I know I sound like a broken record, and I know you're tired of hearing it, but she was wide against the gold rail that day, and I think she's very dangerous in here. I'm a little scared of the first-time starter, the 7 Winter Siren. The way trainer Charlie Baker's been going, I don't think you want to dismiss anybody out of his barn. He just took a tough beat in race number 4 with a horse moving up quite a bit.
Interesting gate drill, too. Second quickest of 56 in the morning leading up to this debut for that debuting 3-year-old filly. We're going to take a timeout. We'll look at the entire field when we come back with a post-parade as well. We'll have the story of the Second Chances and Take 2 program, finding life for retired racehorses once their careers on the racetrack are over. Stay with us. We'll be back with more right after this.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us here on this Friday afternoon with live action from Aqueduct and out at Oaklawn in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And there's a look at Rick Schosberg. He's going to send out the 2 in here. Hey, Mom, a little interesting. Showed some speed against easier company. He apparently liked that performance enough to jump this one up in class.
Yeah, this is a very big jump up in class for a tough spot. I tell you, I miss seeing Rick. He did a little work with us on the show here on Breeders' Cup week, and I thought did a tremendous job.
Yeah, that was fun having him on. He was tremendous. Once their careers are over on the racetrack, thoroughbreds, they still have a lot of life to live and a lot to give. Trainer Rick Schosberg, as you saw him right there, he's been very passionate about Aftercare. He explains how to get involved and why programs like Take 2 and Second Chances are so vital for the horse racing industry.
A racing career can be 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years at the most. They live to 20. The take the lead segment of the initiative is what I do, okay? And we basically transition racehorses from the racetrack into aftercare facilities. We'll get the process started on paper, we'll take some videos, we'll gather up all the medical information, and then set up a profile, and then we'll contact the aftercare facilities. We have a wave of horses that leave the grounds, and there's 5 in the on-deck circle and 4 in the hole if you use a baseball analogy. Nice looking little filly. She's got a little bit of a tendon issue that should heal up in about 90 days. one of our older horses, Saul the Freud, who actually I trained, everybody trained him. He was a New York bred. He's been through up and down the claiming ranks and always put in a great effort. He's a candidate for warhorse now. And I said, what a perfect horse, because he was a warhorse. He's a perfect type to help with our military veterans with PTSD. Thoroughbreds already have this innate ability to learn new things. Starting gait, big track, little track, jog the wrong way, go the right way. You're gonna learn something new. They already know, they're already processed for that. Take Two part of our initiative is a hunter and jumper thoroughbreds only league, if you will. And to be able to see what these horses can do once they're rehabilitated and retrained and adopted out, and to see them in the Take Two competitions doing jumps or dressage or a polo pony. Riders are doing handstands and backflips off. I mean, this is really, really cool. What we've tried to put forth and to get through to all the horsemen. I've been training horses since 1988 on my own. Call us one race early, call us one workout early. Okay, if you think something's going, if you think something's going awry, and there's a chance that your horse may have an issue in the future, call us before that. Instead of trying to get one more race or one more workout or something like that, we can expedite this process within a week and get that horse into an aftercare situation.
Well, you can just hear his passion. It really comes through in that piece. He does so much for this program, and that's where you can get involved as well. Take Two, second career thoroughbred program. Take the Lead as well, doing tremendous work to find homes for retired racehorses.
If we ever need to fill an hour on the show, we'll bring Rick up and just let him talk about Take the Lead. He could talk about it forever, and it's great because it is an important thing, and they do great work.
Well, there is Rick. Again, he's going to send out the two Hey Mama speed from that Post 2. Someone who knows a lot about these programs joining us for the first time today, Maggie Wolfendale.
That's right. And I just think what Rick had to say in that piece, Greg, is so poignant in the fact that, don't just go with the one more race mentality. These horses, they give it all for us. They're why we have jobs here today. And protect them. Give them that opportunity to have that second career. And so many trainers have really kind of got that into their minds. And Rick facilitates everything. He does so well, but especially these programs and the paperwork. It's very easy for the trainers to fill out. They give a little background on the horse, and it allows them in return to find better homes and more suited second homes and second careers. So I can't speak enough of what Rick does for these horses and the racetrack community as a whole. Well, we'll not look at Hey Mama here, though she does look as though she'll have speed again. We'll take a look, though, at number 9, Bavarian Cream, who is your current favorite. And I remember Mark Hennig had her scratched a couple weeks ago, but he had another horse in that race who actually won. So a lot of times it's meaningful when a trainer does that and they scratch the horse that may look a little bit better on paper, and then the one that they leave in comes back to win, because it just speaks to the fact that both horses probably doing well, and he opted to run the other one instead, who got the win. Bavarian Cream, first time out, you notice that the short comment line says hard to load. And I remember talking to Mark about her, and that he said she can be a little bit of a handful at the gates. He said that before they left the paddock. So a lot of times you don't want to run horses, or especially fillies, that have gait issues back that quickly. So I'm sure he's done a lot of schooling, taken his time, and applied patience with one that might be a little obstreperous at the gates. Physically, she looks great, and she's acting better. She was a little bit green, a little bit beside herself in the paddock in the preliminaries first time out, and she seems so much more relaxed and focused today, which I think ultimately is a good sign. She's much the horse to beat. As we'll also take a look at number 6, One Track Mine, who does return off of a long layoff, debuted behind Ready AP, but we saw come back and run second in a stake, and then really there hasn't been that much production out of that race. She did show a little bit of speed, as we will see Dave Donk put on blinkers for this return to the races, just a shortcut blinker. She's done fine in the interim. She's progressed as you'd want to see, not a tremendous amount, but has still made those steps forward physically, and she comes back looking fit. She's one that I didn't get to see in that debut, but I like what I'm seeing from her here today. As we'll also check out number 7, Winter Siren for Charlie Baker. She's one that really doesn't have that much immediate pedigree to report home about, being a daughter of Frost Giant. The dam was 0 for 3, and this is her first foal to run. A little bit on the smaller, unassuming side. While she looks well prepared here mentally and physically, I'm just not sure how well she stacks up necessarily against some of the favored, experienced runners, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. We're going to get to the post parade here coming up in a moment. One Track Mine, the 6, 5-1 right now. Debut wasn't, I mean, for this field, it wasn't bad. She only got a 34 buyer, but Ready AP would come out and run second in the Rig Violet next time out, beat by Run Curtis Run.
Yeah, I think she'll drift up. I'm not a fan. I mean, she could always improve, and Donk has decent numbers off layoffs. I don't think this is that easy a field. You know, the way the 7's getting bad, I bet this horse can run. And I agree with what Maggie said about the Hennig horse. When she was scratched, Mark won the race with another horse, which maybe that's why he scratched her that day. How about the Rail Leucci? Another 3-year-old in here. She was against the track last time. I thought she was dangerous. And I also think Vivizano, if you want a long shot to get in there, that's a big rider change. And I say that because she's a horse that I think can be a little bit more forwardly placed in her races, and Eric Cancel kept dropping out. And Gomez is usually much more aggressive than Cancel, so I thought she could make her presence. This is not an easy race.
That's a 3, 12-1 on Vivizano, who's making career start number 14, but yet not an easy one to separate here, although the 9 did make a nice appearance. She is the favorite. She's 5-2. Start number 2, and we're going to take a look at her debut effort that came on January 13th. Hard to load, and then bumped at the break.
Yeah, she didn't break terribly. She just didn't break great. And this was, I think January 13th might have been as strong an inside bias as any day we ran. And the winner took advantage of it, Normal Queen. Now, we've seen her run extremely well in 2 subsequent starts, including an easy win here last week. Was it Sunday or Saturday or Friday?
89 buyer.
Right, we had a huge race. And this was chased wide the whole way. I think she's going to be very tough if she comes out of there. To be honest, the horse that worries me the most is the 7, not because necessarily the 7 might run nowhere, but a first-time starter for a barn that's going as well as Charlie Baker. He's good with firsters. I think you have to be scared of the unknown a little bit.
Yeah, he's kind of quietly, Charlie Baker put up the most impressive numbers at this meet. 28% right now.
Yeah, I mean, probably the 2 best percentage and the best meets in that department are he and Chad Brown, who's having an incredible meet from percentage terms, almost 50%. But Winter Siren, Charlie Baker, it just seems like they're running. And even the last race, where that horse finished second, she really took a step forward from her prior effort. So we'll see. I think that she's probably dangerous. And I also think that the horse on the rail, Leucci, I know she's a 3-year-old against Olders, but she's running some faster races.
She's 3rd. She was the favorite, actually, too, back against Stone Creator, who'd come back and run 2nd in the Matty May. Galaxina came back to win out of there, although with just a 50 buyer. But
right.
She won. 7-2 right at her morning line for Leucci here. Eric Cancel will be aboard there for Chris Engelhardt. You can follow along on our program and download free Equibase past performances. Get all the stats of the jockeys, trainers, and horses by going to NYRA.com/TV schedule. /TV schedule.
You got to get the forward.
I don't think I've ever said that.
We're very, very particular about backwards and forward slashes. I was getting it wrong for a while. I was chastised for it, and now I'm afraid to get it wrong.
Yes. So there you go. You can follow along with all the action on today's program. We'll get to this post parade here in a moment. 9 minutes from the start of this pick 4, where it seems like the entire world playing today is really going to single Shalimar Gardens so it becomes a pick 3.
Yeah, I mean, she could literally be taking 95% of the money in the pick 4s and pick 5s. Very, very hard. The problem is, if you wanted to bet against Shalimar Gardens, it's very hard to come up with even another horse in the race. So we'll see. But then you've got the last race today, and I picked a preposterous horse in the last race, and it's not just because of the name, but I picked Play Maggie for me in there. Thinking she's dropping. She showed a little speed. She was on the inside last time, which that day wasn't a great place to be. And, I mean, you want to take really psyched at a short price in that race at 0 for 13?
What'd you think of, I really like Gracie O'Malley, the 6. What'd you think of her dropping?
Well, my problem with her is that she was on a good rail that day. And you know me, I just can't play them. But I'm not going to take a stand against anybody in that race because, I mean, let's be honest. the form in that race is at a premium. I mean, I think Holiday Jazz is dangerous, but Holiday Jazz is only dangerous because she's a total unknown. She also may just not be able to run at all, and it's not like she has a pedigree screaming dirt.
Yeah, her only start came on turf, and it came back in October. We haven't seen her since, and now a new barn. Let's go to Hot Springs. And race 4 up next on the card. 6 furlong sprint, starter optional claiming group, even money. Banjo Bear, who does have some other speed to contend with here, namely the 5, potentially the 7, and the 8's not even that slow.
I agree with you on all of those. I'm going to be honest with you. I can see this horse. I thought the 8 would be the horse to beat, though. I'm loath to bet against Chris Hartman. His horses have been running so unbelievably well.
Yeah, Swift Tap, the 8, coming out of the same race as Jerry's 80, the 6, who won that race. But Swift Tap was in a 3-wide battle up front on a pretty hot early pace.
Yeah, I thought Swift Tap ran really well that day and maybe could be the stalker off the claim for Ron McQuett. How about the 2? I'm betting the 2 Catch the Smoke. I am not familiar with this rider, however. I see was 0 for 16 in 2021, but I'm going to bet this horse. You know me, I'm a sucker for a turn back, and aren't they supposed to be moving up front in here?
You would think. It's so surprising to see that price on
Right?
speed when this horse is going to get all kinds of pressure. We'll see what happens. Here he is. Banjo Bear won his debut, and then he was beat less than a length his second start.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's fine off his last race, but he's got to be, on the go from the inside. I don't want to take big positions against Chris Hartman, though. His horses are running unbelievably well at Oaklawn.
Yeah, 25% win rate at the meet. Here's the 2, cuts back in distance.
Well, he's got the figure 2 back, and the sloppy track is good enough. And last time out, going long. You know me, I'm a sucker for a turn back.
Turns and conditions, here's more speed.
I got to think this horse could be moving. For what it's worth, over the last 5 years, horse off the claim for David Vance, he's 0 for 18 with 3 hitting the board off the claim at Oaklawn in dirt sprints.
Jerry's 80 kind of took advantage of that hot pace and that duel up front last start, but he might get it again today.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I agree. He's the last time was the time horse at 14-1, and he's only 7-2 here, but he might get the same setup.
Beezy moves from Steve Asmussen, just claimed by Chelsea Moisey off a win.
No disrespect to her, and she actually has decent numbers off the claim, but I don't love horses claimed from Steve Asmussen and switching off of Joel Rosario.
And here is Swift Tap, rider change too. It's David Cabrera.
I thought this was the horse to beat. I'm shocked this
you.
horse isn't favored. Now, there's a long way to go, so we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll get you back there in a bit. Riders up, post-parade coming up here in New York. As we get set for this pick 4 ahead. 2-1 favorite remains, that actually dropped down another notch, down to 2-1. Bavarian Cream from that outside post for Mark Hennig.
Well, the lower she goes, the less I have to bet on her. I'll bet some exactas. I'll use her over the 1, 3, and 7.
The tote board can actually save you sometimes from making poor decisions.
Sometimes? Often.
We're going to see Lauchi first. We mentioned that third in that Stone Creator race, who would come back and run second in the Maddie May. She's got some figures that make her a major player in here. She's 4-1.
Yeah, I think she's a dangerous horse breaking from down the inside. She just has run races that I think fit against this field.
Rick Schosberg, hey mama, he'll send out the 2, showed speed against Easier and just missed and now moves up in class.
This is a large move up for her. I think she's overbet right now at that price.
Vivazano, long shot that you made a case for.
Yeah, I think you're going to see her a little bit more forward. She hasn't had the best of trips, but as you pointed out before, it's her 14th start. She's had her share of chances.
5-year-old, yeah, making her 14th start. Here's Steppenhawk, 12-1.
If she wins and Shalimar Gardens loses, I think we'll be looking to pick 5 carryover. I don't care who wins the other races.
Good call. Madame Rose, 20-1. Some pace here.
Ditto. Yeah, she can be forward, though. She is fast.
One Track Mine. So the only start July of last year.
Great name. I love the name. Don't like the horse, but maybe she'll improve. She's taking money.
Daughter of Mine Shaft, that is well-named filly. And then Winter Siren, the first-timer for Charlie Baker.
You have to respect a first-time starter for Charlie Baker, and I think this horse is dangerous. She's taking nibbles.
And 2-1 favorite, here she is, Bavarian Cream, start number 2.
I agree with the public. I think she's the horse to beat. The track seems fair in the last couple of races, and a fair track. This horse runs her last race. I think she'll be very tough.
3 minutes away. Race 5 again, start of the pick 4. Let's head back to Hot Springs and a look there at Beezy, one of several that look like they could put some early heat on the horse who had been favored on the rail, Banjo Bear, with more on the pace of the race. Let's go to Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, you hit the nail on the head. There is plenty of pace in there, and Banjo Bear down on the inside. He's got no other choice but to go early on. Swift Tap is going to be, I think, sitting just off the pace, but part of a three-horse duel with Beezy in there as well. So who's Hugo Torres, Andy? Hugo Torres is actually the gallop boy for Wayne Potts. One of the reasons he only shows 16 races that he's ridden. He's a taller kind of guy, looks great on a horse, a very good hand. So at 8-1 with this pace scenario, I wouldn't be afraid to use him. And then Beezy, like I said, he's going to be part of that pace duel. But Swift Tap, I think, benefits from the best trip unless they go too fast early on. By the way, it has started to snow here. We're expecting a lot more snow as the day goes on. They said they're going to speed the post parades up, and they are. Andy, that should make you happy because they're not doing that merry-go-round circle out there right now. They're actually behind the gate, guys.
I would think that you actually love that because you have
I
more
love the
time
merry-go-round, Gary.
for analysis.
Exactly. It gives me more time to talk. And as everybody knows, there's nothing I like more than talking. And thanks, Gary, for that update on the rider of the number 2. Let's hope it works out for him. I bet a few dollars.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Hugo Torres the win. That's the 2 catch the smoke, cuts back in distance. Here's the 4th from Oaklawn. Vic Stauffer the call.
They're at the post. They're off. Banjo Bear wins the break and goes right out to the front, and he's well off the rail. Banjo Bear getting out into about the 2 or 3 path. Beezy and Swift Tap away 2nd and 3rd. Turns and Conditions is 4th, then Jerry's 80, and the trailer is Catch the Smoke. Beezy challenges Banjo Bear up the backstretch, and these two fly along. Banjo Bear inside, Beezy outside. Now Swift Tap will take back and watch those two slug it out. Good move there by David Cabrera. Swift Tap is a length and a half from the front. 3.5 back to Jerry's 80 and Turns and Conditions. Catch the Smoke is the trailer, and they round the far turn with Banjo Bear and Beezy. Beezy's half ahead in front. Meanwhile, Swift Tap is looming large. Cabrera is sitting absolutely still, and he is moving up without being asked. Swift Tap going to be tough at the top of the stretch. Jerry's 80 could be his danger, and here's Jerry's 80 up into a joint second. Swift Tap, the new leader. Jerry's 80 comes to take him on. Banjo Bear drops out. Beezy is next. Swift Tap, final furlong. He is now set down, and he'll have to work as Jerry's 80 is on the attack. Jerry's 80 outside, Swift Tap inside, and Jerry's 80 goes by and takes a clear lead, and he is going to win it. Jerry's 80 in front. Jerry's 80 beat Swift Tap by 2. Beezy was 3rd. Turns and Conditions finished 4th.
That was a big race for Jerry's 80 because he proved he didn't just need that setup to take advantage. Swift Tap got a much better trip this time around, and Jerry's 80 still beat him.
I totally agree with you. No excuse for the 8 at all in that race. Good call with the 6 in the sense that, yes, the horse was kind of got lucky last time at a bigger price, but figured to fall into a similar trip again, and did.
Back to New York, and look at this. The first-time starter for Charlie Baker. We mentioned the tremendous meet he's having. The 7 has become the favorite here.
Yeah, that has to be a good sign, doesn't it?
You would think. A lot of times, especially with firsters, let the tote board be your friend. There's got to be some in the know, you would think here. We mentioned that gate drill, second quickest of 56 in the morning, leading into this start. It's just the second foal out of the dam, but the first to race. Yeah, not just that drill, some other flashy drills as well, with more on the first timer. Let's go down to Maggie.
Well, Greg, she's continued to be incredibly professional in this debut. Like I said, my problem with her is kind of the lack of pedigree, but in comparison to Bavarian Cream, who they are sharing favoritism as we speak, she just looked a little less than. Not bad, not poor, but just less than Bavarian Cream. Not big and strong. She could win here. I'm scared of her. I surely am, but I just prefer Bavarian Cream. And a quick note on Vivazano, our 0 for 13 friend, start number 14. She's typically a horse that washes out a lot, and today she was very calm, cool, and collected. Greg?
So 21-1, appearance-wise, a plus for the big long shot that you made a bit of a case for as well.
Yeah, that's great news for Maggie, and I just played some exactas and tries, and I threw her in. I think she'll run better today. It's not an easy spot. And now the 9 is favored over the 7, and I do prefer horses that have run in general. Interesting to see, but I'm going to hope to get Vivazano into the number somewhere, and if I can, maybe I can hit it right and make some money.
So Lauchi going to load up from the inside. There's a look at the 5, Madame Rose, who should be part of this early pace, if nothing else.
Yeah, she's quick. She doesn't get the job done, and she's been in some softer fields, but she is fast. With an alert getaway, the 9 should be forward too, you'd think. But the thing is, if the 7's a live firster, wouldn't you say that that horse, the number 7, Winter Siren, live firsters usually have speed.
We'll see if that's the case here. Again, pick 4, 150,000 plus in that pool. Good luck if you're playing. Back to favoritism outside with the 9. Competitive 5th here from Aqueduct to start off the sequence. There's the first timer moving in. Let's go to John Embrial for the call.
They're all in for race 5. And they're off. Steppenhawk and Hey Mama to the front. Steppenhawk, Vivazano, Bavarian Cream, they're all together. Lauchi is down at the rail and racing in 5th, and Madame Rose in 6th. It is a length and a half to a 1-track a mine, and then a Winter Siren at the back. Hey Mama leads by a length and a half as Lauchi continues to move up, now grabs 2nd. On the outside is the gray Steppenhawk through a quarter in 22 and 4/5 seconds. The field rounds the far turn, 3 of them across. Hey Mama, Lauchi, Steppenhawk, the front 3 have 3 on Bavarian Cream, who's running in 4th. It's another 3 lengths back to Madame Rose, and then Vivazano. They're coming for the quarter pole. And in between horses, it is Lauchi. On the outside, it is Steppenhawk. And down at the rail, it's Hey Mama. Hey Mama continues to battle on. Lauchi is there. Steppenhawk. And now Bavarian Cream kicks in on the far outside as they come down for the 16th pole. Hey Mama, Lauchi, Bavarian Cream, and Steppenhawk. The 4 of them come on down to the finish. And Hey Mama on the inside has won it at a nice price. Hey Mama at 10-1.
To the aggressor go the spoils near Almena quickest on Hey Mama. Got the lead and able to hang on for the win. Rick Schosberg with this filly winning 2nd time out.
I'll reiterate your thoughts to me after the race. Good for Rick. She moved up a lot in company. Is the rail still good? Didn't look like it after the first 2 races. Did it give her an advantage? I don't know. She really ran. I mean, Greg, didn't it look like Bavarian Cream was going to win by 5 lengths top of the stretch?
Yeah, she
Sitting
looked
behind
loaded.
a 3-horse duel and just loaded, and she just hung badly. Normally, I'd say if this was the 3rd race, it's a huge gold rail, but after the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th races, I don't know how you can say that. Color me confused, but congrats if you had Hey Mama. You're smarter than I am.
Double-digit odds goes right off at her 10-1 morning line. What a 16-1 shot in 3rd as well. 2-1, 4-9. We thought 2 or 3 of them would try and vie for the front. Not the case.
No, I mean, this horse is a good ride by Maniac, going out and getting the lead. Glad for Rick. And the first time started and break that sharply, the number 7, Winter Siren. But, Greg, I don't think she even made an appearance during the running of the race. I mean, these horses were a furlong ahead of everybody else. Strange race. Big prices. Hope you had something here. I didn't.
Hey Mama, 2nd time out, stepping up in class. Apparently, Rick Schosberg knew exactly what he was doing off that debut, giving her a tougher test, and she passes with flying colors. Starts off this pick 4 at double-digit odds. Let's go back to Hot Springs, and Jerry's 80 does it again to Swift Tap. Not to mention, pretty salty field here as well, beyond Swift Tap.
No, I agree. This horse is in good form for Kenny Smith. Congrats to him and Torres, who rode the victory. Got a nice trip, got it done, and really took care of Swift Tap pretty easily in this race. And Swift Tap is okay. Nobody else was a factor in here. Congrats, Connections.
Was it 9-2 in the end? 7-2, okay. $9.80 for the win. Swift Tap, Beezy second and third. These exotics are so good. At Oaklawn, $158 trifecta. With two very logical ones there in first and second. We're going to take a timeout. When we return, we'll look ahead to the weekend. Grade 2 Azeri. And she dares the devil for Brad Cox Flurry Racing. Getting set for her 5-year-old debut coming up. Already a 2-time winner at Oaklawn. Can she add another graded stakes to her resume? We'll be back.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus buyer speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Who you betting on?
How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions, proudly standing the ultra-fast, multiple stakes-winning son of Uncle Mo, King for a Day, the only horse to defeat 2019 3-year-old champion Maximum Security.
Well, King for a Day was basically a clone of Uncle Mo. I mean, good speed, the ability to carry it over distance of ground, real professional horse and a really cool horse to train.
Sire maker extraordinaire Uncle Mo, represented in New York by King for a Day. Visit ihdvstallions.com to book your mare today.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. 5th in New York, kicked off the late pick 4, and Hey Mama jumps up in class and breaks her maiden here, start number 2 at 10-1 for Rick Schosberg.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell you, I'm as surprised as you could be at this horse winning. She had a very good trip last time against significantly inferior rivals. I don't know if the track helped her here, but this was a gigantic improvement for her. Congratulations if you had her. Honestly, I thought 10-1 was an underlay. Turned out to be completely wrong. Felt like Leochi was running, and it really felt like the 9 was going to blow by the field to Varian Cream, and she just hung out in the 4-path the whole way.
Yeah, disappointing from her in that first-time starter. Really, as you mentioned, we didn't see much at all from Winter Siren. Maybe needed to start.
I think she was last. I'm looking at that shot. I think that was her on the outside and last. And it was so far back to the others. We'll see as the day progresses. Strange day out here. Looking forward to the rest of the race.
That early pick 4, 3,300.
How about 25,000 for the pick? You know, I was looking at the pick 5, and I honestly could have been alive in the pick 5 for my picks. Not that hard. I could never have used the source in a million years, though, so.
Race 6. Non-winners at 2 lifetime claiming race, 1 turn mile, make it in New York, drops from 25 to 16. It's going to be a short price here. Even money, you see 6-1 right now, it's going to change.
Yeah, it's going to change. I'm laughing because I was David Aragon, the morning line maker. He made him even money. He made the 4 8-5, and I said to him, the 4 is going to be favored. He didn't strongly disagree with me. He said it was a tricky one to look at. I mean, if somebody wins this race besides the 3 or 4, I don't know who it's going to be. And I know you've got basically a complete single that's likely to win the 7th race. But given the prices of the first 3 winners of the sequence, if the 3 or 4 lose here, even if Shalimar Gardens wins, I think there's a very good chance we'll see a pick 6 carryover.
First time back on dirt for Donegal Bay since last year's Withers.
It just shows how tough this game is, right? You break your maiden for Todd Pletcher in Florida.
3-1 on the
76 buyer. Ship up here. Jerry Crawford and Donegal, there were 20 of them in the winner's circle. There were 18 people came in from out of town in the winner's circle in the freezing cold for the Withers. And now this game is tough. I mean, sometimes you see great stories of horses coming up from the ranks. This is a horse that had a lot of promise. It has not panned out.
We're going to have it for you. Post-parade in a moment. Of course, Rob Atras with the one who should be an odds-on favorite in here, we would think. Make it in New York. He'll send out the 3 in here. He has had a sensational winner, continuing on that momentum from last summer with Maracuja. His story of the family affair in his barn when we come back.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Sobomini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it. The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
Magic's in front.
Yeah, I found it. Okay, perfect.
Growing up, really, it's all I ever wanted to do was be at the racetrack. Kind of like a sponge. I wanted to learn as much as I could all the time. I didn't know if I'd be able to get the opportunity to be a trainer. I wanted to learn as much as I could all the time.
I actually was working for his vet. I met him on my very first day on the job. He had zero interest in talking to me. So of course I was interested. We've been together ever since.
She does everything. You know, she helps me out with, you know, the training to, you know, payroll, books, all that kind of stuff. So she definitely couldn't do without her.
I really like spending all day with him, which is pretty great. Yeah.
These two
He's very intellectual, but also very hands-on. He tries to tailor each horse's training to the individuals very much, especially since we have everything from bottom claimers to like Maracuja. She is a monster, I'm telling you. In her stall, she's like a quiet little lamb. She's so sweet. She comes out of the stall and she's like, I'm big and I am in charge and I'm going to run you over.
And they're off in the 105th running of the Coaching Club American Oaks. And Maracuja is out going for the lead.
You know, so many things have to go right to even make a race, never mind win a race. So every week she just, you know, she was showing us that she was going to give us a good effort.
And it is Malathot in front here by a half length. Maracuja right there in second.
We gave her a little vacation in between the Kentucky Oaks and the CCA Oaks. She had like a minor setback, and that's why we missed the Mother Goose, and it actually worked perfect for her. She came back from the farm. She was 2 weeks on the farm. She came back. ready.
And Maracuja is now making her move on the outside, so it's 3 of them across.
We're coming down the stretch, and I'm like, okay, we're going to be third. All right, that's great. And I'm like, okay, maybe we're going to be second. And then it was like, oh my God.
Maracuja on the outside, now a furlong to the finish in the Coaching Club American Oaks. It is Malathon. Here's a new challenge from Maracuja on the outside. Malathon and Maracuja, they will battle on to the finish in a terrific rendition here, and it looked like Maracuja got it.
She needed every ounce of the ground to get there, you know.
It was just amazing to see what we thought she was, realized.
You know, just to have everything come together, it doesn't happen all the time. To happen in such a big race and to win that race just means a lot. It definitely gives you, you know, confidence going forward.
I would love to have some more nice young horses. When we first started, we had 7 horses. All of them are claiming horses. And we've been lucky enough to, with our success, we've received some good horses too.
When we started out, we were just happy to win races and you know, just to be here and survive. And we've grown in stable size, but you know, we've tried to do more quality over quantity. Try to lead over a contender every time is basically our goal.
So happy for them, and what a great moment. One of the great moments of Saratoga last summer, and they're doing more than surviving. They're thriving right now, the Atras Barn.
I agree. That was a thrilling race, and a race that looked boring on paper. I mean, I know it involved a horse that ended up being the champion, but it just didn't look like there'd be much excitement, and it was a thrilling race. And, you know, as Rob said, his wife Brittany does everything. She's like the PR for him. Rob doesn't speak. I think he spoke more in that piece than he's spoken publicly in his entire life. But everybody likes her. Nobody knows Rob, but everybody likes her. So she does everything for him. She's like his PR master.
What is going on here? I mean, I understand we still have 13 minutes to post, but still, there's been a little bit of time. His even money favorite, Make It in New York, the 3 here, is 5-1 on the board.
Right. I mean, as you know and I know, you know, she's going to end up a very similar price to the 4 and a clear cut, no worse than second choice. But it's ridiculous that at any point in the wagering, she's the same price as the 7 Far Away Look.
Well, we talked about Donegal Bay back on dirt again for the first time since last year's Withers, with more on the 6-5 favorite and the rest of the field. Let's go down to Maggie.
And we were talking about trainers who are enjoying very fruitful and successful Aqueduct winter meets. And I think headlining that list, too, is Ray Handel, as he will send out the current favorite, and that's number 4, Donegal Bay, a horse whom I haven't seen since a little over a year ago when he showed up to run in the Withers. And I really couldn't believe he was a short price that day over some of the other much more logical contenders. The problem is, and while he drops all the way to the bottom for this non-2 level, he still has not changed whatsoever. He's a 4-year-old now, and he looks the same as he did as a 2-year-old. He's never filled out. He's never gone on. He's still very slightly framed, and that's not really, you know, typical of Ray's horses, especially the males. So I can't say that I fully and wholeheartedly endorse him, especially when you're looking at him relative to the other horse that will most likely end up co-favorite or second choice in here, Make It in New York, or NY, who just looks that much better from the physical perspective. So between the two, I do much prefer Make It in NY. Now, number 7, Far Away Look, I thought was a little bit interesting, kind of third off of that little bit of a layoff. And last time he broke very sharply and then kind of was wrestled back, taken off the pace. Granted, the winner did come from far back and was wide. So I don't want to say that was necessarily an excuse, but I'm wondering if they could be just a little bit more aggressive with this horse. Let him run on a bit. He's the other horse, other than the aforementioned 3, that looks best, looks healthiest here, and probably that much more fit now relative to the start 2 back when he was coming back off that little bit of a break. So 3rd start here for Bruce Brown. I do like the appearances of Far Away Look, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Approaching the 10-minute mark to post. Quickly back to Oaklawn. Race 5. Here we go. Start of the late pick 5. 6 furlong sprint. Starter allowance coming up, and Cumberland Avenue ran a massive performance last time out against Greeley and Ben, who's a 19-time winner. He's won 12 of his last 13. One for Richie, came back. He's won 5 of his last 9 starts. It's a big effort, though, and now a quick comeback.
He looks too good, doesn't he? I mean,
weird.
on paper in his last race, even his last 2 races, the one at Del Mar, supposed to win. Changed a lot with the scratch of the 4, though. Took a lot of speed out. 2 of the 3 speeds came out.
5-1 Latin Casino for Scott Becker.
Coming off the best race of his career, and was claimed by Scott Becker, who was 4 for 10 off the claim with dirt sprinters.
5 Dreams just won against Easier.
The 6th dream will be that he's competitive in here. Then he's going to wake up.
Space Odyssey, Robertino Diodoro. Only dirt start. It was actually a win in Northern California.
This is a total wild card in here. Seems to be better going longer, but as you say, he did win on the dirt, but in a race and an effort that can't compare to the ones race.
Baseball's back. Hunch play here. Baseball Politics, 17-1.
Yeah, this is the hunch bet. And I'll tell you what, the race 3 back gives him a chance to get a real big piece in this race. His last 2, 0.
Totalizer, Steve Asmus and Joel Rosario.
I'm always circumspect a little bit of these horses that ship in from Delta Downs and those tracks, and they'll bring that form here. His last race was okay, though.
And the big danger to the favorite in here, Wabberjod, Ron Moquetti's 3 for 3.
And also, isn't he the one that benefits the most from the scratches of both the 4 and 10, 2 horses with speed? He theoretically could find himself totally dictating in this race.
3-1, second choice on the board, co-second choice. With the 7 Totalizer, you see those snowflakes coming down as they try and get this card in. Let's go to Gary.
Yeah, guys, let's talk about the jockey colony. First of all, not only here at Oaklawn Park, the depth of that, but the jockey colony in New York. It's the deepest colony in the United States, in my opinion, and it's about to get deeper. Flavien Prat announcing last week that he was going from California to New York. Also, Umberto Rispoli, 2 proven jockeys. Well, there's another addition. Ramon Dominguez, it was announced, is headed to New York as well as agent Billy Castle. He represents David Cohen. Also, I think it's a good move for him. You know, it's not just David Cohen that you think of when you hear the name Robertino Diodoro, who he's riding for here. Ramon is. They're hitting it 37% of the time of the 67 horses that have run, and that's a huge number, and you get value with him. So not only will he be in New York, but he's going to have opportunities at Monmouth Park, Delaware, many, many other places when you're on the eastern seaboard. So I think it's a smart move. It's a tough move, tougher than it is even right here at Oaklawn Park. But good luck to Ramon. Hopefully he finishes up this meet in the same manner that he is right now, 4th in the standings right now, guys.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Ramon Vasquez out here. Most know him from Lone Rock fame, and he's been a main client of Robertino Diodoro, one of them for many years.
Yeah, and I think his relationship with his agent, Billy Castle, with Diodoro has a lot to do with that. Billy was an agent for David Cohen for years as well. And of course, many of us familiar with Billy. He's always entertaining here. I actually miss him. I haven't seen him, haven't seen anybody in forever, right? Once the pandemic hit. But he's an okay rider, but it's not an easy time to come to New York, you know, with Pratt coming and Rispoli coming. So it's, tell you what, I mean, an embarrassment of riches just got richer.
It's going to get it already was ultra competitive and going to get a lot more so in the coming weeks with some of those big names headed to the east.
The other thing I like about it, Pratt and Rispoli are aggressive riders from California. And I think with them coming, we'll get more speed in these races. And I think the other riders will have to be a little bit more aggressive and adjust. And I think at times one of the complaints, as good as they are, is there's a lot of passive riding. And the only problem also I have with this colony is they're all so good. I'm not going to have as many opportunities to complain about rides. And as Gary knows, that's going to kill me.
Would you say with Pratt, maybe one of
I'm going to complain
best turf riders in the country?
Listen, we've got great riders here, you know, with Joel and all the Ortiz brothers and so many other riders. But Pratt's as good as anybody. He's a terrific, terrific, terrific rider.
Well, let's go to Vic Stauffer. Here's race 5.
They're off. Wabberjod and Latin Casino break best. Wabberjod to the front. He'll pick his path. Baseball Politics and Space Odyssey with Cumberland Avenue, and the trailer is Totalizer. Here's Latin Casino to deny the rail to Wabberjod, and so Latin Casino's ahead in front. Wabberjod is second by a tight length to 5 Dreams. Cumberland Avenue is off the rail and on the move. He's a joint third now with Baseball Politics outside of him. 3 back to Space Odyssey, 3.5 back to Totalizer as they round the far turn. Wabberjod and Latin Casino with Baseball Politics 3 deep. Wabberjod trying to stay undefeated, 4 for 4, and he's a neck in front of Latin Casino in second. Baseball Politics is 3 deep in third. Cumberland Avenue has 4 lengths to make up now. Outside of him goes Space Odyssey. Wobberjod gets away at the top of the stretch. It is Wobberjod in front. Now Cumberland Avenue splits horses and comes on in second. And here's the danger to Wobberjod. It's Cumberland Avenue. He's within a length of the lead and catching with every stride. Wobberjod going to get the full test from Cumberland Avenue alongside Wobberjod. Cumberland Avenue going to be close. Cumberland Avenue, Wobberjod, Cumberland Avenue. Cumberland Avenue beat Wobberjod. Latin Casino was third, and Space Odyssey finished fourth.
Just up in time to get the better of Wobberjod here, Cumberland Avenue, and the dangers of being drawn to the rail.
Yeah, and the situation with the 9, as we said before the race, the scratch, the 4 and 10, the 9 was in a relatively controlling position. I know the 2 came up to him, but that's because the pace wasn't that hot. And I give a lot of credit to David Cohen. I think he understood that he was going to have less speed in here, so he needed to get good position. It's a very nice ride by Cohen. Splitting horses top of the stretch made the difference.
And how about Diodoro continuing to stay hot? He's really heated up over the last week. Post-parade here in New York, we start with Ocean Deep at 13-1.
This would be a surprise, and a horse that got it done on a wet sealed track 2 back.
Gate-to-wire win last start in the slop to break his maiden Prince of Joy.
Yeah, that was a funny day, right? We were talking about that race that anyone could win, including the long shot. Well, we'll see. Jackie Davis will be aggressive again.
It was 30-1 that day. Here's Make It in New York. That price finally coming down.
Yeah, coming down. And you know, if the 4 isn't reliable, he's going to win.
Donegal Bay, so impressive in breaking his maiden. He went to the Withers last year.
Very interested in the comments Maggie made about him, because David Aragona had said the same thing to me, that he's just a horse you could tell had not grown up from 3 to 4 at all.
Coach Ba, 1 for 20 lifetime.
I actually picked this horse third. I thought if you were against one of the favorites, you wanted to get a horse in there. This horse and Faraway Look were the others.
Tough to make here with Bellamy Dolce.
I just don't know how you can find a race that's good enough. Is a good rider change to Sammy Camacho.
Faraway Look, I thought was a little interesting at 8-1.
No, I agree. He's the third likeliest winner, right? The problem is he needs both favorites. He has back form though that's good enough.
Just constant problems getting out at the start. Patio Mark, 23-1, big long shot. We're going to get a look at here in a moment. Somewhere out there.
He's hard to find because he doesn't finish his races. He's off 2 straight E's. 1 in July, 1 in February. Fast track might help.
Blinkers go on this afternoon. Another big price outside Fotis. For some reason, is taking money. He was 50-1 morning line.
Yeah, I'll give 24-1. He just went to 22-1. You said that, Greg, and he went. But you know what just happened? Somebody made a huge bet in the 3. Because when we started this post-parade, as you know, the 3 and 4 were 9-5. Now the 3 is 4-5, and the 4 is 5-2. You know what I honestly think? Sometimes in races, when you have 2 horses that on paper sort of tower over, and people are bettors where they have people on the track looking at them, it's like they see one of them say, I don't like that horse today. Maggie didn't have great things to say about the 4 in the paddock, and maybe they don't love the way the 4's, you know.
Well, sometimes do you think people want to wait because they know the horse is going to be a super short price and not quicken that process?
There's 2 schools of thought in that, right? I think what Greg's referring to is that if you bet, some people will say, you want to bet $10,000 on a horse, bet it right away, because then the horse will open up at 1-9 and maybe discourage people from betting on the horse. You're saying they're betting at the end to drive the price down. I assume that's what you were getting.
Yeah.
I don't have the answer to that. I don't have that kind of money. But I have a lot of 1s in my pocket if you're interested. The big wad of 1s.
2-1, Donegal Bay. Many believe Topeboard would reflect it that it's these 2, the 3 to 4. Race goes certainly through these 2. This was the impressive maiden win at Gulfstream.
And this is what we're talking about, how tough the game can be, and how when you get a good horse, and of course Donegal had Keen Ice, who not only a terrific horse in his own right, but most famous for beating American Pharoah in the Travers. You got to appreciate it when you have a good horse, because this horse, you break your maiden for Todd Pletcher in Florida impressively. You come up here for a Derby prep, the Withers, you're 3-1, and it all just went the wrong way. And now he's running for 16,000. Sometimes they're running grade stakes at this point, but sometimes it goes this way as well.
Well, they got Mo Donegal on that trail this year. This horse trying to rebound and maybe getting back to dirt. We'll see some of that prior form when he broke his maiden. It looks so impressive. Let's go back to Maggie for more.
Yeah, and I think, Greg, that getting back to dirt is, a favorable proposition for Donegal Bay today. And the one thing I can say in his favor is that he did lose a lot of ground on the first turn, and then he was able to save ground throughout. But so many times when I'm watching replays from Turfway, it just seems that trying to come up the rail never really works out. It seems as though horses just kind of spin their wheels when down on the inside. Look, I am not his biggest fan. I think I made that clear in the paddock, but I just thought there were kind of reasons to yes, believe that he could win this race, especially at this bottom level. I want to touch on number 1 just real quick. Just a long shot that looked good. Cutting back from 9 furlongs, he looks to be maybe shorter is a bit better. I agree with Andy. It was a weird race that he won 2 back, but just looks as though he's doing well, really carrying his weight and conditioning in the right kind of way and very forward and just seems like a happy horse. Like I said, I don't love him as a win candidate, but maybe one to throw in underneath. Greg?
All right, always ways to create value, even if they're short price favorites. As you look at Donegal Bay, 8-5 slight second choice. Dylan Davis meets leading rider here aboard for Ray Handel.
He's really having a fabulous meet. And it's by the way, there are, including today, there are 9 days left in this meet. I had some confusion about that. The last day of the meet here is that Sunday, the 27th. That's the winter meet here. And then we go to our important boutique Aqueduct spring meet, which I know you're excited.
That includes a big one.
The Wood Memorial, the Carter. That's going to be a great day of racing here on Saturday, April 9th. But also the condition book is out, and the first scheduled turf race in the book is on Thursday, April 7th. And I tell you what, after some mediocre weather possibly this weekend, the next 2 weeks, it looks like it's going to be almost 60 degrees every day. So I think we're going to see some green grass out there soon.
That'll be fun to have it back. Make It in New York was at 5-1 when wagering opened here. As you take a look at Donegal Bay moving in, now the 7-5 favorite at 3.
Yeah, and it's interesting that, right? Dipped down to 4-5 the big bet, and now it's drifted back up. They're the same price. We'll see what price they close at. Interesting. And you mentioned Mo Donegal. I think that horse is a big player. You expect to see him in the Wood Memorial. I think he has a real shot in the Derby.
Let's go to John Embrial. Here's race 6 from Aqueduct.
And we are ready for race 6 here at Aqueduct. And they're off. Slow start for the 1 Ocean Deep. Good start for Fotis from the extreme outside. And then Patty O'Mark is right there. Donegal Bay is now moving up. Coach Bahi is there. 4 of them stacked across the track. Prince of Joy sits behind and running in 5th. Faraway Look on the extreme outside is in 6th. Make It in New York is 7th at this point, followed by Ocean Deep, and way back is Bellamy Dolce in 9th. The quarter 23 and 1/5 seconds. Donegal Bay's in between horses. Prince of Joy down at the rail, and on the outside is Coach Bahi. Prince of Joy now pokes ahead in front of Donegal Bay, and Coach Bahi is a close-up third. Then it's a break of 2 to Fotis, Patty O'Mark. Ocean Deep is down at the rail, and Make It in New York now moves up a couple of spots. Then we come back to a Faraway Look, and the trailer is Bellamy Dolce. Prince of Joy has the lead here after a half and 47 seconds. It is Prince of Joy in front. Coach Bahi moves to second as Make It in New York advances down at the rail. Donegal Bay is dropping back on the outside. Fotis, and then comes Ocean Deep. The field coming for the top of the stretch with Prince of Joy, the leader. Make It in New York now takes second, and on the outside is Coach Bahi in third. It is Prince of Joy and Make It in New York on the outside, and Make It in New York now makes the lead with a furlong to the finish. Make It in New York draws away here from Prince of Joy, who will try to hold second. No doubt about the winner here. Make It in New York just pours it on here in the stretch. Make It in New York will win here by about 6 lengths, maybe a little more. Prince of Joy was second, then Ocean Deep, and Bellamy Dolce, who was way out of it, comes on to complete the superfecta.
Make It in New York winds up 3-2 second choice in dominating this group. Rob Atras, Manny Franco.
And once the number 4, Donegal Bay, was complete, obviously came up empty going into the turn. And this is a very good ride by Manny Franco. He saved ground, he angled out. it was very hard for this horse to lose and became an easy winner as the second choice. And I still continue to love Jackie Davis. She gave the 2, Prince of Joy, every chance to win. Showing his win last time wasn't a total fluke. I know it wasn't a strong field behind the winner who won for fun, but to be honest with you, Greg, I mean, Prince of Joy improved to be second here, and give Jackie credit for being aggressive and going up onto the good inside.
14-1 underneath, which actually was a third choice on the board in here.
You know, I'll tell you, look at that horse going across the wire. We had a lot of rain. Track is fast, and I'm not saying it's not, but you could see there's a little moisture in the track. This came back a little bit on him, you know.
Son of Lauban wins for just the second time in 11 career starts. This one was pretty easy for him. Again, Manny Franco. Atris Barn, and that's, well, we've run 2 stories today.
I was going to say that.
And both those connections have won.
Yeah, I know. It's a big, it's a very, one of them at a big price. We're clearly good luck charms, right? We're clearly bringing good. I don't think it's a surprise, but we're bringing good luck to people.
3-2, 1-6, 3-2 over 14-1, over 15-1, over 55-1. Back in Hot Springs, Cumberland Avenue. Tough spot this horse was in early on. Winds up just getting by Wabberjod. Horse's first defeat in his career for Ron Moquette.
Yeah, and I thought this was an excellent. I know this horse was favored and was clearly the horse to beat on paper, but he didn't have a particularly strong pace to close into, and I thought Cohen did everything right to get the money in here, and that Diodoro bad streak is a thing of the past.
1-9-2. Son of First Samurai, his third win, 10 career starts. He was coming out of an ultra tough race. $5.20 for the victory. Wabberjod second, Latin Casino third in a race that kicked off the pick 5 at Oaklawn.
Not a bad exacta. 8-5 or 5-2 logical versus $20.
Tremendous out there.
That's a big price for that exacta. That could be $14.
Early pick 5, $2,099.45. And of course, underway. That was the first leg of the late pick 5 as well. We're gonna take a timeout. Feature coming up next in New York. It was Make It in New York. Easy time of things here in the 6th for Rob Atris. Stay with us. We'll be back.
The breeding industry is governed by one principle. Performance determines success.
And Constitution has won!
Now, he's earning his stripes by siring stars.
Independence Hall wins the Hagyard Bayette.
Law Professor just in front, and Law Professor.
American Revolution, fireworks in the stretch here in the Cigar Mile.
Constitution, a natural-born leader.
Be a part of the racing action Saturdays at Aqueduct with live money contests available online through Naira Bets. A $300 buy-in adds $200 to your contest account, while the other $100 funds the cash prize pool paid through 10th place. Follow along with the races on America's Day at the Races while keeping track of your leaderboard standings on Naira Bets. After the contest, your bankroll and prize winnings are shifted back into your Naira Bets account to start betting or withdraw. Register to play today at nairabets.com/contests.
With 5 champions, 70-plus stakes winners, there is arguably no better proven stallion value than Sky Mesa. Among his leading progeny is Grade 1 Spinaway Stakes winner, Perfect Alibi.
Perfect Alibi runs in her.
Sky Mesa has a higher percentage of black-type horses to starters than More Than Ready, Malibu Moon, Kitten's Joy, Hard Spun, Candy Ride, and Street Sense.
Spinaway.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by the A-Train and by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Our favorite way to make it to Aqueduct.
No doubt.
Make it, yeah, I guess they couldn't get the capital Y approved. Make it in NY, New York. Dominant here in the 6th.
Yeah, once Donegal Bay just wasn't effective at all, it kind of became a one-horse race, and that's what it turned into. Regardless, it was still a very good ride by Manny Franco. You win on the best horse, but he did everything to help make sure the horse had every chance to win. Stayed inside, moved out. And the more I've watched overall, I think the inside's been good most of the day. There are some ambiguities, though, that makes it a little bit tricky. This horse much the best.
Pick 3 with 3-2 right there, $269.
Yeah.
2 legs remain. It's going to be a nice pick 5.
It is, even with the favorite in here.
Take a look at it. $17 to start it. Hey Mama at 10-1 for Schosberg. Finally get a little form here. And now you would think 1-9 right now we're going to see on Shalimar Gardens. So see how it plays out.
No one
think
Olympic 6.
Unbeatable here.
Yes. I mean, any horse can lose, but the pick 6 won't be.
Except for this one.
I mean, on paper, she has such an enormous edge in this field, it's almost hard to believe. When I was handicapping it, you probably had the same feeling, you kept waiting to turn the page and see, oh, there's another horse in there. And you went, no, no, nope, nope.
Shalimar Gardens holds all the keys. Manny Franco. We're going to go back-to-back. Horatio de Paz, Barry Schwartz, and a daughter of Uncle Mo. Feature coming up next here in New York. Stay with us.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
Welcome to McMahon Thoroughbreds. I'm Joe McMahon. This is my wife, Ann. We're the proprietors of the McMahon Thoroughbred Farm. We've been here for 50 years. This farm here was 88 acres back then. It's now over 800 acres.
McMahon Thoroughbreds is the birthplace of Funnyside, the winner of the 2003 Kentucky Derby and Preakness.
This area has become popular for horse farms because of its proximity to the Saratoga racetrack and the sales, to the extent that now we have 4 major horse farms right within a few miles of here. There's Mill Creek Farm, there's Rick Burke's Irish Hill Farm, there's Quest Royal North, as well as McMahon Thoroughbreds. Probably more importantly than those large farms, there's lots of mom and pop farms with 1 or 2 mares in the backyard. The area has really come into its own in the last 20 years.
I measure success by the quality of the New York breds that are now raised in New York State. With this fantastic breeding program, out-of-staters have been lured into the state, bringing better stock, better stallions.
Currently, we have a horse here called Central Banker. He's pretty successful. He's very popular.
We're getting a much better product to race in New York.
Well, for more information on the New York Thoroughbred Breeding and Development Fund, go to nybreds.com. Certainly pays to be a New York bred. We have a New York bred we're going to see in the feature on Saturday, who really was just trying dirt because there was nothing else to run in. Gave this mare a shot, not expecting a whole lot, and all of a sudden she's reeled off back-to-back wins on dirt, including a stakes win.
I'm a little worried. She's coming off a very long freshening. She hasn't run in 27 days. After this race was just a week after that debut, and you'll see a lot in the winter. Turf horses, they're especially the New York breds. They're going to stay in New York. Their trainers give them one chance in the dirt to see if they're good horses. The vast majority of the time, they run lousy, and they give them the winter off. In this particular case, they found out they had a stakes winner sitting in their barn. They came back, they got the money 2 weeks in a row, but the competition is a little deeper in this correction.
Significantly deeper. That was a win. It was great. Look, stakes win, but against New York bred company. But deserves this shot. Going to have to deal with the likes of Club Car, who's got quite a resume.
Club Car has lost her last 2 races, relatively close losses to Bell's the One, who I know, Greg, is one of your favorite horses around.
One of the best filly mare sprinters in the country.
Yeah, I mean, she would be a huge, huge favorite in this race, but she is off a layoff for a trainer coming in who has not had a lot of success in New York.
That is the 8th big one tomorrow. That is the feature. We look forward to it. It's been a fun story with Kept Waiting. Connections didn't even know what they had when they tried to run dirt first time, so we'll see if she can keep it going.
Horses surprise you sometimes. I mean, you see with first-time stars get bet. They work great in the morning, they can't run in the afternoon, and sometimes first-time stars can't run in the morning, and they run well in the afternoon. She surprised them, and that's a good thing.
Back to Hot Springs, race 6 furlong sprint, 10,000 starter allowance. See that snow picking up its intensity a little bit here.
We did not get as strong a weather report from Gary as we normally do. I think he was so bummed about the snow that he just he played it on the down low.
Horses love to run in this weather.
Oh, better them than me. Well, I mean, it's got to be, comfortable when it's cold. Yeah.
8-5 favorite, Jets Aginin, who's been off since January 2nd. 14-time winner from 25 career starts.
She feels like the main speed in this race, but the 5 has speed, the 9 has speed. I thought they were going to be moving up front. I guess she's the favorite. I kind of thought the 9 would be favored in here. How about you?
Yeah, Diodoro, yeah. Cohen. Gets
like
outside as well.
This is a drop down in company. This horse has been running as better horses got in his past because this is a $10,000 star allowance. Sort of been running for $30,000.
But Jets Aginin drop it too, right?
Oh, no, yeah. She makes perfect sense in here. I totally agree. I'm just a little worried the pace may not set up well for her, and that's what concerns me.
701 Sophie's Angel, who's a 10-time winner.
Yeah, what she has going for her is Chris Hartman off the claim. He's having a tremendous, he's 11 for 38 off the claim in dirt sprints at Oaklawn over the last 5 years.
Betch won 2 in a row, and then she was finished behind Sophie's Angel.
Yeah, but she's been running against some weaker fields, and she may be a pace victim.
Cut back in distance for Texas Rain.
Not a bad race to be cutting back, and this one has enough speed that she shouldn't get totally lost out there.
Tap along. Going to see speed from this one.
I think the best thing she's going for is a claim by Norm Cassie, who does well off the claim, but she's another forwardly placed horse, and she's not fast enough.
14-1 on this Gray Daughter of Race Day.
Yeah, I don't know. She doesn't look like she can compete with these.
And big contender outside, Diodoro's Kasserin Pass, who 2 back 1 at Churchill.
Yeah, she's got a little more recency. I wonder if she'll be favored by post time. I thought she was the horse to beat.
She looks tremendous on the track at 5-2, but the one to beat on the board, Jets Aginin, trained by Scott Becker. With more on that trainer, let's go to Gary.
Yeah, guys, Scott Becker's always been a super solid trainer of it, hitting at 33%. He's down on that at this meet, down to 19%. That's still solid, but when his horses are coming off from 61 to 160-day layoff, that's his forte. That's his money card. He hits it 34% with that. I'm not a big numbers guy, but the numbers don't lie, and I think that Jets of Ginin will be on the lead here on this snowy afternoon. And you're right, Andy. You know what? I don't mind the snow, though. I actually kind of enjoy the snow. But the longer we go, the heavier it's getting right now. So the only good thing about this right now is we're going on time with our post parades, guys.
Cannot be easy to ride in these conditions.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you just sort of don't expect in the middle of March down at Hot Springs. You know, they'll have that weather earlier, and it was like 70 degrees or something down there all last week. I mean, we had 60-degree weather in New York. It is what it is. They race in all kinds of elements, and Gary probably didn't ride a lot in these conditions, riding in Southern California.
California didn't get a ton of snow. No.
Not a ton of snow there in March, yeah. Yeah.
Del Mar, I don't know if it
wise
snowed a lot
decision by him to ride there.
I got to say that the appearance of Catherine Pass, she looked tremendous. She has speed. She's drawn outside. Obviously, it's Diodoro who's heating up. A lot to like.
I think she's supposed to be favored in this race. I honestly do. The horse that I'd try to get in there would be the number 6, Texas Rain. I might take a shot against the 2. I agree with Gary. I think she's the speed. I just think it's going to be a tough race for the speed, you know? I just feel like she's going to get pressured in this race. And from under the gun down on the inside could work against her. I'm going to bet a little 69 box and press the 9-6.
I mean, even the filly to her inside, I don't think she has much of a chance to do anything in here and make noise, but she can at least put some early pressure.
Right. There's even tertiary speeds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's enough horses that seem like they're forward that it's hard for this race not to come up with a fast pace. It doesn't always work out that way, but on paper, it's tough for them not to be moving a big up front. And I think the 9 can be close, but I think the 9 has more options than the 2 because she breaks outside. That's all.
Favorable, no question, to be that outside speed as opposed to inside with the 2 Jets of Ginin. Short price, though, not scaring the public away, as it really, and we expected this, but this weather is really taking a big turn here in Hot Springs.
Yeah, it's you know, it's one thing when you get the snow in the winter when you're expecting it. It's another thing when you get it when you feel like you've kind of moved past it. But
now we're going to be getting some extreme weather likely here in New York tomorrow.
Yes.
But today it's beautiful. And when we do get back here to New York, features coming up. Shalimar Gardens, as we expected, as short a price as could be expected here, 1-9 right now on the board.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look. I wonder if she's a horse that could pay 210 to win.
And I feel for Vic Stauffer because this, from our vantage point, is not going to be an easy race to call.
No.
If not downright impossible.
He might have to resort to the head-on, which we do around here sometimes.
So 8-5 favorite can sort of make you out that they're close to loading. That's about it.
Yeah. Yes, I see the 2 making the circle around. Wow, this came fast, huh? I hope they can get the rest of their races in.
Good luck, Vic Stauffer. Jets of Ginin, Francisco Arrieta, the 2, the favorite, and Catherine Pass, the 9. Diodoro and Cohen, second choice on the board.
Jets of Ginin is ready. Tapalong goes in. Betcha will be next. The last 2 are Loomis Hot Mess and Kasserine Pass. They're off. Sophie's Angel and Jets of Ginin. Jets of Ginin to the front. Betcha away in second. Then comes Sophie's Angel. Kasserine Pass has moved up to third. Midnight Karma is next. Then Texas Rain and Lil Miss Hot Mess. And the trailer is Tapalong. Up the backstretch, and Jets of Ginin has just lost the lead to Betcha. The Betcha has taken over the lead 3/4 of a length to Jets of Ginin in second. Then Kasserine Pass to the outside. Looks like Kasserine Pass might get into third. We're going to try to switch over to the TV now. And there it is. Good shot with the 3/8 pole camera. And Betcha has the lead with Kasserine Pass trying to come back from the outside. And Jets of Ginin through at the rail. Then comes Texas Rain. 2.5 lengths further back to Lil Miss Hot Mess. And Jets of Ginin has retaken the lead. It is Jets of Jetsajinnen at the top of the stretch from Betcha in a second. Kasserine Pass to the outside. Final furlong, Jetsajinnen has the lead. Kasserine passes second to the outside. Here comes Texas Rain, and in the center of the racetrack, Sophie's Angel, and Sophie's Angel has put ahead in front. Sophie's Angel and Kasserine Pass. These are the two that'll decide it. Sophie's Angel, Kasserine Pass, Sophie's Angel in front. Sophie's Angel beat Kasserine Pass. Jetsajinnen was third. Texas Rain finished fourth.
Sophie's Angel, Chris Hartman just claimed off of Robertino Diodoro for the victory with the apprentice, John Geraldo.
You just can't stop Chris Hartman out there. His horses are just running unbelievably, and it's rare that you see a horse improve substantially off the claim from Robertino Diodoro. I understand there are weird conditions out there, but this horse is too slow on paper. But here are the stats going in. 11 for 38 off the claim at Oaklawn in dirt sprints. He's now 12 for 39, and his ROI jumped up considerably, close to $4. That's remarkable.
Stepping up to face a lot tougher in here.
This is a horse on paper to improve a horse off of Robertino Diodoro. Now, Diodoro only had the horse for one start, but wow, this horse has never run this well on dirt, I don't think, unless maybe not recently, that's for sure.
Here is the big favorite in our Friday feature in New York, Shalimar Gardens, 1-9. We mentioned at the top of the program, she was beat at 2-5 in this very same condition last time out, but was against the track that day.
She was, and even against the track, she ran a buyer speed figure of 76. I'm going to give you some examples of the recent figures of the last figure of the horse of the race. 45, 44, 53, a big 62, and a 56. So even that 76 against the track, that puts her 14 points faster than these, which at a mile, that's about 8 lengths.
Saw there quickly. Of course, you can play all the action with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com, download the app, Stakes 200. That code to use at sign up to bet any track, anywhere, anytime, including we got a Derby prep coming up tomorrow from Tampa Bay Downs. We got the Azera. This Distaff division again this year is going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. I'm looking forward. You and I will be on the show yesterday in the later stages. A lot of good races to cover.
Here she is, 1-9, Shalimar Gardens with Manny Franco.
It's on paper. She's as close to a cinch as you'll ever see in a horse race.
I know you ain't talking to me at 31-1.
Yes, you are. She's off the claim for Brooke Picarella.
The apprentice, Jose Gomez, rides. Voice of Spring, Linda Rice.
Keep in mind, Linda Rice had entered this horse in a lower-level claiming race, only to be scratched. Her form since the layoff has just not been good.
13-1, enter Sandwoman.
Good effort in the sloppy sealed track last time. She's one of the contenders for second.
Stretching out, Mia Be a Star, who just won sprinting.
Randy Brousseau does not have good numbers coming off wins in dirt races. You missed the boat in an easier field at 13-1. I know I did. Maybe you didn't.
Gray here, daughter of Tonalist Raffinity, who's been popular in the claim box.
That's my cold number off the claim for Rob Falcone. We mentioned the trainer of Kept Waiting. I'm going to try a 1-7 exacta. Dylan
Davis, leading rider at the meet on board outside. Shalimar Gardens, so 1-9, holds all the keys in this race. The maiden win was dominant at Belmont and then went to the Grade 2 Raven Run and Grade 3 Cumley in back-to-back starts.
They showed incredible confidence. To ship this horse to Keeneland to run in that super tough Raven Run. Caramel Swirl won as good. Joy's Rocket, obviously a good horse in there. And she ran well to finish fourth. Not the best of trips in the Cumley, not a bad trip, just too good for her. And then last time out, chased against a bias, and the winner ran huge on the gold rail. And even in defeat, she ran a race that makes her hard to beat in this race. I don't know. She feels like an overlay at 1-5 to me.
4 minutes away. Let's head downstairs for more with Maggie.
And not to just pile on a 1-5 shot, but Shalimar Gardens, I don't want to say necessarily she looks best. Actually, we'll get to a horse that physically matches up well to her, but the warm-up really just sealed the deal, at least from my perspective. Just beautiful movement from her, really exuberant type of gallop over to the backside beneath Manny Franco. All the things that Andy said just add up to a horse being a very short price. She's healthy, and she's one that I think you do need to wake up a little bit because she's so laid back in the paddock. And the more you do with her in the warm-up, the better, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. As number 3, Voice of Spring, she is a horse that detests a wet track, and I remember Linda Rice even saying to me last time that she's doing very well, but this is not the race for her. But I like the fact that she kept her in, because you got the impression that off of the May to January layoff that she needed that race back in the beginning of the year. So now she's third off. She's really well defined. I mean, she's chiseled. Every muscle is highlighted on her. And she's a horse I've always liked, but also heed the fact that she hates a wet track. Well, she's back on a fast track here, and she's definitely gained that fitness that she needs with her previous 2 starts this year. So I think from my vantage point, she's the one I want to back up Shalimar Gardens, Greg.
Not a lot of options in this race. She looks like she's dominant. Looks like it could be a walkover. It being bet like it, we will find out as we're 2 minutes to post here in the feature.
You know, you look at the races back in March and May, and Voice of Spring was a horse that would have a chance to be at least close. She has come back off that layoff and run absolutely dismally. I actually asked Linda Rice about her, and she said, you know, the horse is fine, and she looks good around the barn, but she just doesn't seem like she can really run competitively anymore. And I think that's the tough thing. You have a horse, they're physically fit, they're doing all the things they were doing when they were running well, and then you put them on the racetrack, and for whatever reason, they just don't run well anymore. That doesn't mean somewhere in her body, she is the second best horse in this race. I have no doubt about it. She was an unlucky horse that earlier in her career, and she got a great ride from Jose Lezcano when she broke her maiden, but she just hasn't picked a hoof in her last 2 starts.
Yeah, it's tough to see her turning that form around, but you never know. You'd mentioned, look, Shalimar Gardens, when she went to that Raven run, one of the fillies who finished ahead of her, Joy's Rocket, ran second in there. We're going to see her later today in the feature at Oaklawn.
Now, who is she, Brad Cox? I didn't look at the 8th at Oaklawn because I'm not covering that.
She is Steve Asmussen.
Okay, right.
Joel Rosario will be aboard.
Yeah, she ran well in that race. And that was Caramel Swirl is a Godolphin horse that ran a huge race up in Saratoga for Bill Mott. And she's one of these sort of in and outers. When she runs well, she runs big. And then sometimes she just inexplicably runs poorly. But she ran well that day. And didn't Scylla run 3rd? I feel like she may have won a Prioress. So I think I think she won. She was definitely in the Prioress. I think she won. That was a good field. And you look at that on the surface of things, and I thought, what is Deposit Barry Schwartz doing? It's like a crazy move. She was 36-1, but they were not wrong in going there. I mean, a 4th place finish in that race is okay. And
we just had a story earlier today about a massive favorite. It was a kind of different race. It was Malathot, the Coaching Club of American Oaks. She had the rail. She was what in that race?
1 to 5, 2 to 5.
Something like that.
And she looked like she couldn't live. That's one of the things, that race, that Coaching Club, if somebody had to ask me what was my favorite sort of racing moment of last year, in a lot of ways it was that race, because I love Malathot. She's terrific and a deserving champion, but it looked like a boring 4-horse field on paper. Oh, she's just going to go to the lead. And it turned into this unbelievably thrilling race.
Tactically, too. So many things going on.
All that. And it was a lot because Irad was aggressive on Clairiere, which I thought was the right move. He gave her her best chance to win. It just didn't work out. And it turned into a thrilling race. And listen, I think the graveyard of favorites is kind of overblown at Saratoga. But one of the mystique about Saratoga are races like that, where horses like Malathot, who was unbeatable in her age group, she lost.
And we got a 1 to 5 filly here from the rail. Target with Manny Franco on his back. See what happens in the feature with Shalimar Gardens. Let's go to John Imbrial for the call.
They're all in line. And they're off. A good start for Shalimar Gardens from that inside post position, but it is Raffinity from the outside who has the early lead. Enter Sandwoman moves up, and Shalimar Gardens down at the rail as they move up the chute. It is Raffinity in front. Shalimar Gardens moves into second. Enter Sandwoman is next in third. Mia Be a Star in fourth, followed by I Know You Ain't Talking to Me. 6 lengths. Back to Voice of Spring, who trails the field in 6th. First quarter, 23 seconds. Raffinity by a half length. Shalimar Gardens has moved off the rail and is to the outside of Raffinity as the field races up the backstretch. Raffinity, the leader, by a little more than a length. Shalimar Gardens next in second. Then it's the trio of Mia Be a Star, I Know You Ain't Talking to Me, and Enter Sandwoman. Farther back, it's Voice of Spring. The half mile was 46 3/5 seconds. Raffinity holding on to the lead, but the lead is diminishing as Shalimar Gardens moves up right alongside. Raffinity at the rails. Shalimar Gardens on the outside. Mia Be a Star is in behind in third. Then Enter Sandwoman in fourth as they come for the top of the stretch. And here is Shalimar Gardens right alongside of Raffinity. Shalimar Gardens now takes the lead. Raffinity down at the rail in second with Mia Be a Star next in third. It is Shalimar Gardens who's being urged on now by Manny Franco, and Shalimar Gardens responds, opening up here. Shalimar Gardens by 4, then the Grays, Raffinity, and Mia Be a Star. Shalimar Gardens at 1-9. Raffinity held second, then Mia Be a Star and Enter Sandwoman.
Shalimar Gardens, Manny Franco, Horatio De Paz biding her time and then draws off.
Yeah. Manny rode her a bit in there, to be honest. Maybe a little against the track on the outside. She's just too good for these horses. And as you said to me, they were going down the backstretch, she got to have a big horse, too. She kind of towered over these, the number 7. Nice aggressive ride. Another good job by Dylan Davis and Rob Falcone, at least in being second, because I think for the most part, if you were in this race and your name wasn't Shalimar Gardens, you were hoping you got lucky, but second was just good enough. And second in this race is $14,400. Not bad.
Manny Franco did feel a little bit of urgency going to the riding crop there early in the stretch. And then she does her thing and draws away from this group. 1-7, 6-5. Horatio De Paz, Barry Schwartz, Manny Franco, and that's the second win of her career. In 7 starts, Shalimar Gardens, after disappointing at 2-5 last start, does not disappoint at 1-5 here. Nightcap still to come. We still have the feature ahead from Oaklawn as well. Lots more coming up here on America's Day at the Races.
Eclipse champion Blame ranks among the nation's top sires at a fraction of the price. His recent top runners include Aga Khan stud Saidabad, a top performer overseas, stakes winners Mandate, Officiating, Love the Nest, Dancing Kiki, and Blame JD. With success on the track and success in the ring, this proven son of Arch is truly a gold value stallion. Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Is the most beautiful racetrack in America, hands down.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to the breeding stock sale. Book one. Good to have you back with us.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. We just saw the feature in New York. Shalimar Gardens does not disappoint at 1-5.
Yeah. She was just too good for these horses. She was too good for them on paper. She was too good for them on television as well. Get it done. Nice job by her. And good job with the Raffinity off the claim. And I'm going to say it. Third and fourth races were aberrations. I think you really want to be on the rail today. And this filly was never on the rail, but she's so much better than these. It didn't matter. And we're waiting for the closing margin. I had made her at 6.5 lengths. It's the over-under. I think it's closer than you, Greg. She might have been as much as 6. I think it was the under, though. You did it was only 5? I don't know. Kind of stretched a little at the end, Greg. Maybe you're right. 5 1/4, 5.5.
credit Dylan Davis, who he tried to do what he could with Raffinity.
Yep. Went to the front, took advantage of the racetrack. This filly ran well, though. She couldn't beat Shalimar Gardens, but second place is okay.
So another short price favorite, but the shortest we expected. This was sort of a free square that everyone anticipated. Made the pick 5, a pick 4, the pick 6, a pick 5. But the last race, as we talked about earlier on in the show, not easy at all to close it out.
I picked a wacky horse in the last race, the number 3 horse, Pit Play Maggie for me, and it's not just because of Maggie Wolfendale, but can't hurt. Could be the inside speed. Took some money on a rail that wasn't necessarily the best place to be last time. A bit of a stab in a race where there's just no good form to go with.
All right, 7/8 of a mile, New York bred 25 maiden claiming group to close out the card. Coming down next here in the 8th at Aqueduct. There's the prices, $2.50 on Shalimar Gardens with Raffinity underneath. $3.10 back for $1 exacta.
They only bet 90,000 to show. I thought we might have gotten more.
One leg remains in this pick 5. Again, that early pick 3 of the pick 5 was over $200. And we've talked about a wide open finale. It's going to be a nice pick 5. We'll give you the Will Pays when we return. We're going to take a timeout. What a move it has been for Trevor McCarthy returning from his West Coast stint back to New York. For a time, he was the hottest rider in the country. Mig sits down with Trevor when we come back. We're back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you in part by the champion sprinter, Run Happy, now standing at Claiborne Farm on legendary stall number 1. We're getting set for the nightcap coming up, 7/8 of a mile, New York bred, $25,000 maiden claiming group, wide open field. It's Gracie O'Malley dropping in class for Mark Hennig, second time out. Modest favor right now at 7-2 on the board. It turned out to be a very wise decision for Trevor McCarthy to return to the East Coast after a stint out in Southern California. He had a tremendous return here, including mid-January. He was named the Jockey of the Week when he had 8 winners with 19 mounts, 2 or 3 cards. He had 4 win days as well. He's a new dad also, a lot to be excited about. Richard Migliore had a chance to sit down with Trevor.
What's your preparation like? What do you do going into a racing card to kind of optimize your opportunities?
You know, let's start out the night before. You know, I do a lot of eating well, try to drink a lot of water and prepare myself with a nice meal before going to bed and getting a good night's sleep. And while doing that, watching some replays, going over the card for the next day, and waking up early in the morning, going out and getting on some horses, getting warmed up, building some relationships with owners and trainers.
But you owe it to your connections, your owner, your trainer, the people that work with the horses, and obviously the betting public, to give them 1,000%. And sometimes that means compromising somebody else's trip.
Absolutely. And look, my father was a trainer and an owner, so I know how much second and third means to guys, and I try to go out there and give 100%. And look, everything's not going to unfold the way you want it to every race, but still I always try to give 100% all the way to the wire. And if that means that I got to beat my brother-in-law on nose, I got to beat my brother-in-law on nose. I treat him the way I would treat any jockey in the room.
It's probably more fun beating your brother-in-law on nose. Yeah. I think an interesting dynamic this winter, you're in a battle basically with your brother-in-law, Dylan Davis, for leading rider. You guys both have been riding tremendous. Kendrick Carmouche still very much in the play. You've competed also with your sister-in-law, Jockey Davis. You've competed with your wife, Katie Davis, who now you have a baby with. What is that like? What's the dynamic competing against basically family?
It's tough. It's tough, especially for me and Katie. Our first few months dating, we really had to find a happy medium, and we came up with the conclusion that when we get home, no horse racing. She rides her race, I ride mine, and when she would come to me for advice, I said, hey, listen, I'm going to give you advice whether you like it or not, and I'll tell you how it is, and that's the way I feel, if you can take it or leave it, and same with her. And we built up a really good bond, and we respected one another and our riding abilities, and it's worked out well that way. And, riding with your in-laws, it's tough, especially when you're, competing for leading jockey. It's like, you got to go home, and sometimes you get invited over to go sit at the dinner table with the guy, and it's like, you have to put that aside and just have fun.
Did you anticipate things kind of snowballing and getting going again as well as they have?
If you said that I'd be hunting for leading rider at the beginning, at this late in the meet, it's like I would have never thought that. I came into the meet with the mindset that I'm going to work really hard, try really hard, and if I finish in the top 5, I'll be more than happy. And to have a great meet so far and be battling since probably the middle of January is tremendous. And I give a lot of credit to Joe McGlory, my agent, and a lot of the owners and trainers that have really supported us. I mean, we've had a tremendous amount of trainers who supported us this meet, and hopefully we can just keep it going.
It's been tremendous what he's done coming back here and winning at the rate that he has. And you talk about riders too, and we mention his name a lot on here as you look at his resume. Pays more attention and is just so attuned to how the track is playing, almost more than anyone in that room.
When Trevor first came back here, not this year, but the year before, I'd actually texted him and said, I hate, I want to be out of line, and he's a rider I respect for, but I wanted to talk about how there had been a little bit of a bias on the turf courses, talking with him, and, I hope I'm not bothering you or whatever. And he said, I want criticisms, I don't need to be complimented. I'd rather be told when you think I'm doing something wrong than when I'm doing something right. And obviously you compliment him a lot. And he said he loves to talk about the racetrack, talk about the races. He's a very interesting and a terrific guy as well, but he's somebody who has one real concern: being the best rider he can be. And I think that's all you can ask of any rider out there. And I'm not saying he's the only individual in there, but this is a guy, Trevor, that is completely committed.
Welcome daughter Riley in December. Going to be riding Princess Riley.
So we're trying to figure out.
Here in this 8th race.
She's a first-time starter, older. Could she have been named for him?
Might just be a coincidence.
Maybe it's Dylan Clark's brother has it. He's got to ride Princess Riley.
Talk about a hunch play of all hunch plays.
Think he's betting? Only 7-1.
7th at Oaklawn. Let's head back to Hot Springs. We have a late scratch in this race. 3 came out. No drama mama.
So there was some drama for no drama mama.
Apparently.
She lied.
How about the hunch play here? Ice Baby. Here's the 2, Cost of Fortune.
Cost of Fortune looks like the inside speed. Is that the way to go? Don't know.
Truly a rocket. We'll see next at 17-1.
Goes out for Chad Brown's ex-assistant. Her first race is good enough. Her last 2, though. Oof.
Yeah, it's not back that up at all. It's kind of gone backwards. Essential Bella, 2-1, taking support for Norm McKnight. She is fast.
She is. Her first race in the dirt was okay. She's a player, but 2-1?
Been off since January 7th. Some of that speed taken out. That rail would have been contesting the pace, and she's gone.
And the 3, potentially.
Yeah, and the 10, potentially, right?
Yep.
Cypress Queen, Ramon Vasquez.
She looks a little slow on paper.
Can't be touched, 7-2. Chris Hartman off the claim.
I know we missed Hartman off the claim at big price last race, but you got a turn back off the claim for Hartman? I mean, he's just too good for me.
Brad Cox, Ricardo Santana Jr., Ice Baby.
No surprise she's 4-5 in here. She is way the horse to beat. Cutting back, his running gets much better, but do you worry about the drop down?
And Mumblebee, when came on synthetic at Woodbine.
Like the name, don't like the horse. If you trust Ice Baby off the drop, she can't lose this race. But 3-5. Let me ask you a question, Greg. 3-5 in this kind of weather. Track conditions.
It scares me.
Track conditions. They play no favorites. They'll hurt a favorite as much as they'll hurt a long shot or help or hurt either way. And I could never take that price in that kind of condition.
Well, this is a look on a much sunnier going. December the 17th at Fairgrounds when she broke her maiden.
Right. She's probably looking around going, did I really need to leave New Orleans to come here for this? For what it's worth, Brad Cox, his numbers are solid. I looked up turning back on the dirt and going from allowance to a claiming race. He's 4 for 8. Half his horses, $3.08 in ROI. And first time for a tag with a cutback in distance, 10 for 35, 216 ROI. So they are delivering, but that's an awfully short price to take.
And look, she's not a full-blown speed filly, but she has tactical speed. She can be close.
Yeah, and you would think on that drop down, they don't want to get left too far behind, but you're not wrong. And there still should be some speed, but it is a race that has lost some of the speed that was signed on.
Vic Stauffer up against it again in these kind of conditions to try and call this race with what is coming down right now in Hot Springs. Here he is with the 7th.
Bella and Ice Baby. Last horse to load will be Mumblebee. They're at the post. They're off. Cost of Fortune broke slowly. Cypress Queen breaks well, so does Mumblebee. At the rail goes Truly a Rocket, and Truly a Rocket will take over the front. Essential Bella is next, then the slow starting Cost of Fortune, and at the back of the pack, it's Ice Baby. Up the backstretch, and Truly a Rocket has opened up a big lead here. Truly a Rocket, a 3-length lead over Can't Be Touched, who now moves into second. Essential Bella is at the rail in third, then comes Cypress Queen. Ice Baby is up into fifth now, and they round the far turn, switch to that 3/8 pole camera, guys. Is still Truly a Rocket in front. It is Truly a Rocket around the far turn. Can't Be Touched, Can't Be Seen in second. And then comes Essential Bella in third. And we are at the top of the stretch. And Truly a Rocket, I think, still has the lead. Truly a Rocket in front. There's one charging on the outside, and that is going to be Ice Baby, I think. No, it is Cost of Fortune. Cost of Fortune, and that's the one that got left at the gate. What a big race she's running. Truly a Rocket and Can't Be Touched. Cost of Fortune or Truly a Rocket. Cost of Fortune, Truly a Rocket coming back. Cost of Fortune, Truly a Rocket. Oh, my goodness. This ended up extremely close. Cost of Fortune and a resurgent Truly a Rocket. It's an inch either way.
Horse that you heard from Vic Stauffer blew the beginning. May have won this race. Photo between the 2 Cost of Fortune, the 4 Truly a Rocket.
This is a race I wish we could have seen better.
Yeah.
This horse completely blew the brake, and in blowing the brake, almost handed the race to Truly a Rocket, because instead of being engaged in the pace down the inside, Truly a Rocket cruising along on the front end. Made that huge run, so she was clearly best in this race. And then Truly a Rocket's coming back on. But you know what? I'm glad the 2 Cost of Fortune held on, because she deserved to win this race.
13-1 on the 2 Cost of Fortune, 14-1 on the 4 Truly a Rocket. What a big effort.
Wow. I can't even tell. Is that the 8th finishing third?
We'll have the official results when we come back from a short timeout. Got the nightcap still ahead. Here in New York, not an easy one to close it out. This one still remains the favorite. Gracie O'Malley, leading rider at the meet. Dylan Davis trying to hold off Trevor McCarthy. We'll be back.
Run Happy, the #1 second prop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, a triple grade 1 winner, defeating Breeders' Cup champions Dancing in Silks and Amazombie, a leading California sire with over $9.7 million in progeny earnings, with 94 winners in 2021 and graded stakes superstars like Spice Perfection.
Spice Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
And Tiger Dad. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms. It pays to be Cal-bred.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races here on FS2, program brought to you where you can play it all. Go to NyraBets.com. You can download that NyraBets app. Stakes 200, that code to use for new members at sign up. We got one more here in New York. Still got the feature coming up at Oaklawn. And we just had a close one in that 7th in Hot Springs.
That
cost a fortune, the 2. Truly a rocket, the 4. 13 and 14 to 1 respectively. Yeah, dead heat, we were just told. Wow.
Okay. It was tough to see.
Back here, this had been the favorite, Gracie O'Malley, meets leading rider Dylan Davis, trying to get his first win on today's card.
I mean, look at the board. You got a 4-1, you got a 7-2. Surprised anybody's that low. Tough to take a short price on anybody in here.
Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
As Andy said, tough to take a short prize, tough to make any, really concrete decisions in this race. So maybe you play the name game, as we were talking about earlier. Trevor McCarthy riding one named for, not named for, but has the same name as his daughter, Princess Riley. Then there's the obvious, play Maggie for me. Then there's number 6, Gracie O'Malley. I have a Gracie P. Morley, so there's that. But Gracie O'Malley is a horse that I just thought would benefit from a race from the strength standpoint. And she actually surprised me and showed speed, which I wasn't necessarily expecting in that maiden 40 back on January 23rd. Now, as Andy pointed out earlier on the show, she did take advantage of a racetrack that was favorable to inside or speed horses. She has come out of that race and done what I'd hoped she would, and that is really strengthen up. She's put weight on, muscle mass weight, which always, I think, is a really step in the right direction. And she ran like a horse that kind of needed a race too, just tiring at the end. And I think it makes her a very, very logical contender here, getting just a slight class relief to boot. Number 8, Holiday Jazz, kind of a wild card in here, and I think she's interesting. Going back through my notes with her, I said, doesn't really look like turf, despite, the damn right running exclusively on the turf, although she was 0 for 5 on it. And she's a daughter of First Samurai and the second generation's turf too. So I actually don't mind her sprinting here on the dirt at this lower level. And two, she didn't show much speed in that debut. And not that to say that she's actually acting like a horse that should have much speed. She's very quiet here, but she looks like a horse that could get herself away from there a little bit better. She's just really nicely developed behind the saddle, looks strong. In that regard. And, you know, two turf races, turf sprints are run just in a much quicker fashion than the dirt sprints, especially at this level. So I think she's well prepared coming back here, and I like her in this spot, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. 5 minutes away. We'll get to the post parade coming up in a moment. Time for our Run Happy photo finish. And it turned out to be a dead heat, as we just mentioned, in the 7th at Oaklawn with the 2 Cost a Fortune and the 4 Truly a Rocket. The 2 on the outside blew the break. Gets part of the win.
Terrible beat if you had the 2, because she should have gotten all of it. And I got to tell you, I know the inside, as Frank Miramati warned me.
Wow. Can we see the photo, please? I'm doing the same thing you are right now, and that did not, wow. I know I'm bad at calling those. Tough angle.
The weather's kind of crummy, but okay. That's why you don't call close photos as an announcer. You get yourself in trouble. Something to learn from John Embrial.
Looks like another photo right there.
Yeah. I think, well, I always thought the outside got it, but there seems to be an inside bias, so probably at least a dead heat.
This one is interesting. This is Trevor McCarthy's mount, Princess Riley. The rail again was last early after a poor beginning and actually made up some ground.
Horse does like to run inside of horses. Actually got a pretty good trip in that last race after breaking a little bit slowly. I don't know, softly slow, that debut.
Dirt starts for the 2 have been abysmal.
That's the thing. I mean, I get the horse ran faster on turf, but they were a while ago. Not for me, but I'm not against anybody here.
We'll get back to your 3 in a moment. There's Really Psyched, the 4.
Yeah, I'm hoping to play Maggie for me. We can wire the field. Really Psyched can win, but is also 0 for 13 coming out of a slow race.
At Birthday just missed at this level.
Potentially a speed as well.
3-1 back to favoritism, Gracie O'Malley.
Yeah, I don't like this horse, especially as the favorite. I know she looks good. She's dropping. She ran respectably her first race. I don't like her effort.
Turf debut. This is start 2 for Holiday Jazz, the 8.
I think she's the horse in here. Again, you know, more logical as she's the new face in here. Big price.
5 lengths behind Really Psyched last out, the 9 horse.
Yeah, I picked her last time. It was a horrible pick by me. I thought she'd be 15-1. She's 7-2.
Miss Malala went by. She's 51-1. The 12 Beautiful Banks.
Yeah, I mean, Beautiful Banks. Rider switch to Jose Gomez. We'll see if that helps.
And Powell's Alley outside 4-1, Chris Englehart.
I think in some ways she's kind of the horse to beat, but she's a deep closer who drew a far outside post position. Not for me on this racetrack, but she can win.
3 minutes to post here in the 8th at Aqueduct. There's Trevor McCarthy. We just saw that sit down with Mig. Battling his brother-in-law, Dylan Davis, who's up 7 on him right now. Time running out.
Yeah, there's
1
only
or 2 big days.
There's only 8 more days, but as you say, you know, Dylan has a day where he goes 0 for, and Trevor wins 3 or 4. Not easy, because even if he does that, then you got 7 days left, and he's still in front by 4. And
Yeah.
what if tomorrow Dylan wins 3 and Trevor wins none? And it's 10 with 7 to go. But still, he's within shouting distance. And we saw last year, with 2 races left in the second to last day, Kendrick Harmouche was up by 8 over Eric Cancel, and he lost. So anything can happen.
4 race lead final day, and Eric Cancel won 6. It was heartbreaking to see, but tremendous to see for Eric. That was his first New York riding title, and to have a day like that, do it with a day like that, pretty special. As you take a look at Really Psyched, who is one of the players in here, but look, 13 starts, and it looked like finally she was going to get it done last time out, still got beat.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, not that she can't win in this race, because she can, but my gosh, she's had so many chances. The horse that beat her, though, Sabrine, did come back and run a respectable second against Tougher in her next start. So maybe the race a little better than that 27 buyer. And given her usual figs, I wonder if that number's a little on the low side.
Misses by a half length in the spot, 5 lengths clear of Miss Flincher, who she'll face again this afternoon, is 15-1 on the board.
Yeah,
She keeps coming, though.
This was not a strong race. Now, she's not in one today. listen, I won't be surprised if she wins this race.
She did keep coming against pretty darn slow fractions, didn't she?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And Sabrine, but it was a hungry bunch. But like I said, Sabrine ran better in her next start, so I don't think it's. I think that race may be a little better than that buyer speed figure suggests.
Let's go down to Maggie.
Taking a look at number 1, Princess Riley in here, a horse that it's a little tough to make her on paper, given that very slow buyer speed figure first time out. And as you were saying, Greg, draws the rail yet once again. But Trevor McCarthy, I think, was very cognizant of that and really warmed her up. And she was one that looked good enough relative to her competition in the paddock, but really moving nicely over this racetrack. So I kind of moved her up in my eyes once I watched her warm up. As number 2 is Blind Sight. She gets back to the dirt here after a try on the synthetic, and then 2 and 3 back on the turf. She's run faster numbers on those surfaces as opposed to her dirt races, but they were nearly a year ago. And she's a big, good-looking filly. Looks as though she's doing well, has that dapple to her coat. And I think the 7 furlongs actually plays favorably into her hands, given the way she's put together and just her size and overall scope. So just a few horses that are decent prices, Greg.
Well, one of them's on the board, too, at 21-1. Again, why do you like this one right here, the 3?
She was on the inside last time, was not the place to be. I think she could be the inside speed in this race with the right aggressive ride from the apprentice. She's dropping down. I didn't like anybody. I found somebody that I could make a small case for at a big price.
Nightcap on this Friday card from New York. Still have that feature to come from Oaklawn. That's coming up next. See what happens here in this final race on the Friday card from Aqueduct, going 7/8 of a mile. 4-1 is your favorite. That is the 6, Gracie O'Malley. Shows you how difficult this one is to close things out here in South Ozone Park. John and Brielle, the call.
Waiting for Beautiful Banks and Pal's Ally. Set for the start. And they're off. There's Holiday Jazz. And down on the inside, it is a Play Maggie for Me in between those two. Half Birthday. Half Birthday, Play Maggie for Me right together. Holiday Jazz right there on the outside in third. It's a break of 2 to Blind Sight, who is advancing down at the rail in 4th position. Then comes Really Psyched, who's running in 5th. To her outside is Miss Malala in 6th. Beautiful Banks is next in 7th, followed by Miss Flincher in 8th. Down on the inside, Gracie O'Malley is 9th. Pal's Ally in 10th. Princess Riley trails the field in 11th. Opening quarter, 23-1. Play Maggie for Me leads here by a length. On the outside is Holiday Jazz, who is moving up to challenge Play Maggie for Me. Holiday Jazz on the outside, Play Maggie for Me down on the inside. Really Psyched now advances into 3rd. Half Birthday is back running in 4th, followed by Miss Malala and a Blind Sight. They're at the top of the stretch, and Holiday Jazz has taken over. Play Maggie for Me is back running in 2nd. Really Psyched next in 3rd. Holiday Jazz has built a 4-length lead. Really Psyched moves into 2nd. Play Maggie for Me drifting out there in the stretch. But it is all Holiday Jazz here. Holiday Jazz pouring it on, coming from off the layoff to break her maiden, and she did it decisively. Really Psyched was 2nd. Blind Sight finished 3rd.
Holiday Jazz, first time on dirt in her 2nd career start, and she demolishes this field.
I'll be honest with you, Greg, I'm surprised she's 9-2 in here, because if you're looking in a race like this and you say, who's the stranger, she's like the 1-9 stranger, right? I mean, she ran against better horses, and I'll tell you something else. Jamie Begg, the trainer, if you're not familiar with him, he was an assistant for Mark Casse. And when he was the assistant for Casse, their horses won in New York. They did very well. And a move by the Casse barn was turf to dirt with 2nd-time starters. So it's almost like he took one out of his boss's book, and this horse won off by a lot. I thought my 8-3 exact had a little bit of a shot, Greg, for a while.
8-4, 2-11. Play the super. You collect a 77 on one shot in fourth if you went deep.
There you go.
And limited day for Kendrick Carmouche. You heard in that interview with Mig and Trevor. This guy's still in the mix as well for a riding title. Only had 2 mounts, 2 wins.
That's right. Nice job, Trevor. Kendrick, excuse me. This horse won like should have been 1-5.
For Tracy Farmer, trained by James Begg, and a daughter of First Samurai breaks her maiden in her dirt debut off the bench. Prices, we'll tell you where that pick 5 came back when we return. Tomorrow, it's the Distaff division. In the Grade 2 Azeri from Oaklawn and the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint reigning champ. CC gonna stretch back out to the side of one of her Grade 1 wins, returning to Oaklawn.
And here is Sharp Azteca now to take the lead. 3/4 up in 1:10.4. It's Sharp Azteca with the lead as they come down for the finish. It's Sharp Azteca, and he was sharp as can be today to win the Cigar Mile. 1-5-5.
Back at America's Day at the races on FS2. Good to have you with us. Card in the books in New York, the main event. The feature's still coming up out at Oaklawn. We'll get to that shortly. Kendrick Carmouche. Nice day for him. Limited, but made the most of it. 2 mounts, 2 wins. Still hanging around in the mix for this riding title.
Yep. Well, maybe Kendrick will pull an Eric Cancelo last year, and he'll catch the 2 guys in front of him. And, you know, Kendrick has a lot of pride. And he's going to be doing whatever he can to get it done. You got to have the mounts. You got to get the right horses. Kendrick has a terrific agent, Kevin Bubser. He's having a tough day, though. He's a Sixers fan. It was a bad night for the Philadelphia 76ers last night.
Grilled by the Nets.
That's probably why Kendrick's only on 2. Kevin's probably home crying.
This one, well, that margin looked about what the Nets did to Philly right there.
Right. They look like the Nets.
Jazz, $11.40 for the win for Samurai Philly. Once again, this was the first time for her on dirt.
Yeah, and she found the right field, but she beat them the right way. I think she won by more than Shalimar Gardens won by. I meant to look up how big that margin was. And you distracted me with all that Oaklawn talk, Greg. I blame
Pick
you.
5, $1,208 return with a free square in Shalimar Gardens.
Any sign of Maggie
Make it in
Wolfendale?
New York, who was even money morning line.
I'm trying to, you know, it didn't pay great. It paid probably about $900. This one was the favorite, actually, in the pick 5, so no big surprise. But it still paid 35% over the parlay. So you still got that with, as you say, a basic free square.
Yeah. You're leaving us.
I am leaving. But I'll be back tomorrow.
I enjoyed it.
I did too.
Big day tomorrow. We're going to have that correction, as we talked about, Tampa Bay Derby as well. Weather just about everywhere. Going to be a little messy.
I'm happy for Oaklawn. They may be done with the weather. Maybe it'll move through fast, and the rest of us will be suffering tomorrow. But I just hope Gary doesn't have any problems getting home.
Going to take a timeout. Maggie going to be stepping up to the desk to join me right after this. Stay tuned. A lot more America's Day at the Races on the way, including the feature on a snow-filled Friday afternoon in Hot Springs. Stay with us. We'll have that for you when we come back right after this.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 7 millionaires. With over 10% stakes performers, his recent top runners include Tarabi, placed in the Grade 1 Spinaway and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, Grade 2 winner Plum Ali, multi-millionaire Shivaji, plus these standout performers. Now his biggest book in the past decade will be 3-year-olds in 2022. A proven value sire, First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
We're back. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. Program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Feature is coming up next in Hot Springs in the snow. Allowance optional claiming group, 6 furlong sprint. We talked about Joy's Rocket earlier in the program. Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario will team up. And she's been first or second. 7 of her 11 career starts, 4 of those victories. She just missed in stakes company at Oaklawn last time out in that American Beauty. 3rd off the layoff for her today, and there she is. Short price at even money from the inside post. She was 9-1 in that spot, and she nearly got the job done. So you see why the short price here, but she's got a good one to deal with next door. And Little Tootsie for Tom Amos, Joel Politti. Serengeti Empress connection, so a Florent Giroux aboard. She had won 2 in a row and then had a poor break last time out. When she finished behind Joy's Rocket, she was the favorite in that race. Here's Headland, 6-year-old mare, 7-time winner, just shy of $400,000 in earnings. Beat pretty handily by Little Tootsie 2 starts back. As we take a look at Ringleader, she's dangerous in here. She is quick, but coming off a long layoff. She hasn't raced since July of last year. She has won off a long layoff before. She won the Dixie Bell here 2 seasons ago at Oaklawn. Acting out 9-2. Taking money for Jerry Hollendorfer and maybe the other speed in here to go with Ringleader from that outside post. Minute away from the feature. Let's check in with Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, Joy's Rocket, even money right now. She deserves to be the favorite at even money right now in my eyes. There's plenty of speed to her outside short field. A bigger field would have been to her advantage, I believe, but she runs well down on the inside. Don't have to use a lot of rocket science to figure this one out on paper. Look, Joelle's going to let her bounce away from there. She'll put herself in a good race, or in a good spot, and he can bide his time. I think she comes with a big run. She's not going to be too far off of the pace in here, but it's Joy's Rocket's race to lose here, guys.
And thank you, Gary. The public agrees as well. Short price, even money, and she used to be very quick, actually. It's a filly who could be in front on the lead. She's actually won stakes races going gate to wire, but of late, and look, she had a bad break in this race last time out. She was a little bit further behind than she wants to be. She still nearly got up and won this race in a race where she was almost 10-1 in here. Really tough spot, good account of herself, overcoming that poor beginning. And you go from, you get one of the best in the game, obviously, the reigning Eclipse Award winner in Joelle Rosario. There's a lot to like with Joyce Rocket and Steve Asmussen. And Joelle together, 24% at the meet. Now she's 3-5 in this spot. See what happens here coming up as this weather is really taking a turn for the worse. Been probably toughest for anyone. Vic Stauffer trying to call these races. Doing a nice job here in these conditions. But Lil Tootsie, she can give Joyce Rocket, certainly I would think, a much better test than she was able to last time if she can break clean. And I'm intrigued by Ringleader here. Won the Dixie Bells mentioned a couple of seasons ago. She comes in off a layoff dating back to July, but she did win off a 6-month layoff at Oaklawn a couple of seasons ago. 4-time winner for McLean Robertson. I believe they're close to loading, so I'm going to let Vic Stauffer take it here. It's the feature on this Friday card.
The horses are at the gate. It's post time. I am reasonably sure they're in the gate. They're off. Huh. Maybe Headland to the front. Hey, there you go. We got Chicklets. Acting Out has gone to the front with Headland away in second. Ringleader is third. Joyce Rocket is at the rail in fourth. And Lil Tootsie is the trailer. And the 3/8 pole camera is working well. And so we see that the leader is the California Invader Acting Out. But Ringleader is 3 wide and after the front. At the rail, Joyce Rocket has moved through into third, and she's loaded for Rosario. Joyce Rocket, if she gets through inside of Acting Out, will get up to a challenging position. 2.5 lengths back to Headland, and the trailer is Lil Tootsie, but she's on the move 3 deep. Acting Out is the one to catch. Acting Out. Joyce Rocket has every chance now, and she's coming after her. Acting Out leads. Joyce Rocket is second. Lil Tootsie is emerging and running a big one in the center. Here's Lil Tootsie. Acting Out reaches. Joyce Rocket between horses. Lil Tootsie on her left lead. Got a switch and she can get the money. Acting Out. Joyce Rocket alongside. Lil Tootsie 3 wide. Acting Out doesn't want to give it up. Joyce Rocket Acting Out hangs on and wins. Acting Out beat Joyce Rocket and Lil Tootsie. Headland was 4th and Ringleader 5th.
West Coast speed getting it done here. Ringleader, I gotta think, did not break all that well in here. Acting Out, though, quicker and coming in off that layoff as well. Hadn't raced since July of last summer at Del Mar with the victory here at 5-1. As for Lil Tootsie, impossible to see the beginning in here, but I got to think she broke poor again in this spot. Tried to get there for Tom Amos with Ron Giroux and runs out of room, but I don't think it was ever going to get to this 5 in here. Acting Out takes the feature. 5-year-old mare by Blame for Sherman Racing, Jerry Hollendorfer, and Martine Garcia. 5-1-2 finish in the feature from Oaklawn. Going to take a quick timeout, and we'll talk the feature coming up on Saturday when we return here on America's Day at the Races. Big one in the Distaff division on the road to the Apple Blossom at the meet. The Grade 2 Azeri. She Dares the Devil. Set for her 5-year-old return to the races. We'll preview it when we come back.
Here's Basin now Grayson grabs the lead. Basin and Jose Ortiz are running away on the hopeful.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to have you with us on this Friday afternoon. Feature in the books at Oaklawn. So their nightcap coming up, and they have a big program on Saturday. Joining me on the desk, Maggie Wolfendale. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, live and in person.
And we're going to preview this Azeri coming up, but Azeri I had a chance to watch quite a bit when I was out on the West Coast. What an incredible filly she was.
She really was a 3-time champion, including Horse of the Year in 2002. And just, I mean, her record to boot, 17 for 24 lifetime. She beat some of the best of her generation, too, in getting all those wins as well.
3-time winner of that Apple Blossom. We'll preview that race here in just a moment. Feature race on this Friday card. Tough to really see what was going on in here, but we know this one was quick. Acting Out, got to the front and able to hold off those making a charge at her late.
Greg, is this foreshadowing to what might happen here in New York tomorrow? I hope not, but Acting Out, as you mentioned, she was coming off the layoff, coming in for Jerry Hollendorfer off of that trainer change, and she looked to be the speed of the speed, and boy, did Martin Garcia use that to his advantage. I think her last race was a throwout, and you go back to her last dirt sprint, she was second behind Edgeway and finishing in front of Miss Bigley, so that form franked with her win.
Really good ones. Yeah, look at that, pick 3. 2,400 for $2. Wow. Had some upsets this afternoon in Hot Springs. We still have their nightcap coming up, but let's get back to Saturday and this Distaff division. Going to be another great year in this division, which the last few years has really been one of the most exciting in racing.
It really has. I mean, with Latruska, She Dares the Devil, just so many great horses. But here is Azeri in her Go for One victory. She was just tenacious, to say the least. Look at her.
She might have been even better before this. She at one point reeled off 11 consecutive wins in her career.
And this was when she beat Sightseek, who was no slouch, and Storm Flag Flying, who would go on to become a Breeders' Cup winner herself. So just all heart, all class for the eternally great D. Wayne Lucas.
Laura DeSaru had her for so many years too early on in her career when she was tremendous. 17 for 24 lifetime, over $4 million in earnings for the great Azeri, an 11-time Grade 1 winner in 2002, Horse of the Year. So the Azeri coming up on Saturday, and it's couple of big names we have returning in this race. Reigning Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint winner CC, and She Dares the Devil returning for her 5-year-old debut.
And She Dares the Devil was dealt no favorable hands yet again with that post position draw, though she does look to be quick. We'll see what CC does too. She is stretching back out in distance. They mainly focused on one-turn racing last year. It paid off with that Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint win. Now, last time with her 6-year-old debut, the horse who beat her, albeit she was, a very short price, 1-2 that day, but that horse kind of freaked in Mareneath and winning with a 108 by her speed figure. And CC, she ran a 101, so that was even a step up off of this performance, at least on the Beyer speed figure scale. We'll see. I somewhat had my reservations. I thought she turned into a really good sprinter, but hey, in 2020, she was running the same figures going around, 2 turns as she was last year too.
See right there, 3-time Grade 1 winner, one of those coming here at Oaklawn when she won the Apple Blossom. So we know certainly in the past she's been incredibly effective at 2 turns. Is she still able to do it now as a 6-year-old? Gary Stevens, your thoughts?
Guys, from what I saw this morning, she's stabled in Wayne Lucas's barn. She came out, beautiful, beautiful mare. I've got a special relationship with her, not necessarily her, but her granddam, Magical Maiden. I was a permanent rider of her, as well as her mother, Miss Houdini. And yeah, you worry about the stretching out again, but she has, as Maggie says, run the same figures going long. I think that the 1 16th is well within her scope. Thing that worries me the most is the weather. Guys, it's still snowing right here. It's supposed to snow until 7 p.m. Then we've got weather in the low 20s. They've just announced that the track won't open until 9 o'clock in the morning. It'll be open until 10:30 for training. So that's a concern. She's also never run on a off racetrack before, so we'll have to see what the condition is going to be like tomorrow, guys.
All right, Gary, thanks. Yeah, that's a good point. Both her and She Dares the Devil have never contested an off track.
I know, that's incredible. I mean, not necessarily with Cece because she's a California-based horse, but that She Dares the Devil has pulled off never being on an off track before. And the problem, as Gary was alluding to with the Oaklawn surface, is that they can't treat it. So if it's frozen, it's frozen. And so we'll see. Do we proceed with racing tomorrow? We might see delayed post times, as he was saying, delayed training tomorrow morning.
As for She Dares the Devil, she's been so much fun to watch. Maybe a notch below the absolute best of the division. She tried the distaff last year. She was 8-1. She wound up 6th, but she had an incredible year.
And she was a part of that wickedly fast pace that we saw in the distaff, in which Latruska, finishing second to her there, was a part of too. She came back in a walk in the park in the Royal Delta in her first race back as a 6-year-old. She Dares the Devil, and another horse coming back too, part of that pace stroll, winning. So She Dares the Devil, if she can control here, she's going to be very, very dangerous.
Beat Latruska in this race last year. Getting set for her 5-year-old debut coming up. Well, if you remember back to 2020, that Kentucky Oaks is one of the most hyped showdowns in the sport all year long. 2 superstars, Gamine, Swiss Skydiver, and what was many expected to be a showdown for the ages. But apparently someone forgot to tell the mare we were just talking about, She Dares the Devil. Her upset led to a surreal experience for her owner, Staten Fleury, who was on the ride of a lifetime with this incredible 5-year-old mare.
I kind of learned from Brad Cox, if you're not obsessed with something, you're not going to be very successful with it.
That passion was instilled in Staten Fleury as a kid when he collected money for his parents' parking lot business. The Fleurys own several lots located across the street from Oaklawn.
We had quite a few owners and different trainers that would park with us that I've gotten to know over the years. And when I was younger, hey, come watch a horse run if we win, get in the win picture with us. And I just fell in love with it very early, and when I graduated college, I claimed my first horse. We won our 2nd race, and it's kind of been downhill ever since.
Staten would form Fleury Racing in 2012. At the age of 30, his triumphant horse racing moment would happen in the middle of a pandemic when his long-shot 3-year-old filly, She Dares the Devil, won the 2020 Kentucky Oaks.
She Dares the Devil, Swiss Skydiver, She Dares the Devil, and a huge upset. set.
It was just a blur, honestly. Then I vaguely remember the press conference that we did.
If you can just capture what your emotions have been over the last 20 minutes.
Just a blur, honestly. You don't realize what you accomplished when it happens. It's looking back, man, we won the Oaks. We won the fastest Oaks ever. We won the strangest Oaks ever. What meant as much to winning the Oaks is all the people that reached out to us and said, hey, we're proud of you. We're happy for you. That was as cool as holding up the trophy.
Last March, She Dares the Devil kicked off her 4-year-old campaign with a win in the Azeri Stakes at Oaklawn Park.
Gonna be close. She dares the devil. Latruska, she dares the devil.
She won 4 of her 6 starts in 2021, including 2 Grade 1s, earning more than $1 million for the 2nd consecutive year.
She dares the devil, trying to hang in there. Enfoutant is rallying boldly down inside. Finite coming down the center of the track. She dares the devil, though. Digs down deep. She dares the devil, turns back Enfoutant, turns back Finite, and wins.
Now the Brad Cox trainee makes her 5-year-old debut at Oaklawn in the Azeri Stakes once again. That's why this game can be so special. Someone who grew up working across the street from the racetrack, getting a horse of a lifetime like this.
It really is. And just a magical story with him, you know, parking cars, owning those parking lots, and to do it on the big stage like that. I kind of get chills watching that.
Gary, she's been remarkably consistent. She's won at the highest level. How is she doing?
I talked to Staten before the first race today. They're super excited to get this mare back. Said that she's been training at the fairgrounds and couldn't be doing any better under Brad Cox's care. Really looking forward to tomorrow. Just super excited, and you can hear the passion he has for She Shares the Devil in that video you guys just played. I could see it in his eyes. This next 16, 17 hours is going to be tough for him to contain himself. He probably won't sleep a whole lot tonight, but hey, he's been through the biggest 3-year-old filly race and pulled that off. What do you got to lose, Staten? You'll be all right. Again, I think the question is, how is she going to handle an off-track? Maggie, like you said, surprised being based on the East Coast that she hasn't raced on an off-track before. So a lot's going to be played out over the next 16, 17 hours of what the track condition is going to be like tomorrow. Listen, She Dares the Devil and Cece, they may relish an off-track, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. We just don't know. We'll find out what happens tomorrow. Keep an eye certainly on that weather when we come on the program tomorrow.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how the track is. You know, is it above freezing? Is it thawing out? Is there a lot of moisture? It's all things that we have to wait and see till tomorrow.
But this is one of these early season matchups that no question is going to get a lot of hype with these 2 stars in the mix.
I mean, you flash back to last year with the Azeri and She Dares the Devil as we watched beat Latruska, and then Latruska just went on that torrid streak throughout the year to become the champion. But Cece, she's your champion female sprinter of last year. So She Dares the Devil, she's tackled some of the best in the game, and we'll see. There is another quick horse to her outside by the name Super Quick, but she's to the far outside. So we'll see what the riding tactics are from Florent Giroux, She Dares the Devil's normal pilot. Do they go? She's proven that she can sit off of it and be comfortable in winning.
Yeah, I mean, she does not have to have the lead. She's certainly effective on the front end, but she can maybe let that other one to the outside. Yeah. I wouldn't think she's concerned with everybody, but talent-wise and the resume she's built, I would think.
Yeah,
sit off
class
that
should prevail. Exactly.
We will find out. We hope it comes together tomorrow. That's race 9 on the card. Grade 2 is area in that distaff division. We're going to take a timeout. We got the Tampa Bay Derby on the road to the Triple Crown coming up tomorrow as well. Classic Causeway looked awfully good in his 3-year-old return to the races. Can he back it up in the Grade 2 Tampa Bay Derby test on Saturday? We'll have a preview next.
Always been keen on the sons of Tappet. You know, we've done well with him. You know, he's broken out quite well. He's a beautiful mover, potentially a really nice 2-turn horse going forward. We're really kind of very fond of him.
We bought the Tappet filly out of the Blue Eyes in the Rain filly at the Keeneland sale. What we really liked about her was obviously her physique. We liked the way she moved, and we just fell in love with her from the start, really.
Tappet, standing at Gainesway.
the Fasig-Tipton Gulfstream Sale. We're bringing the heat to Miami once again with a catalog of selected 2-year-olds in training. Recent stars include Grade 1 winner Yapon, plus graded stakes winners Independence Hall, Heart of Almost, Center Isle, and Cezanne. Burning up the dirt track with selected juveniles by the nation's hottest sires. The Fasig-Tipton Gulfstream Sale. Selected 2-year-olds in training, March 30th in Hallandale Beach, Florida. Where will you be?
Liam's Map, a 2-time Grade 1 winner with 6 consecutive triple buyers, including a 114 to win the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. He's already taking the lead as a sire with Grade 1 winners Basin, Wicked Whisper, and Colonel Liam, and graded stakes winners like Rushy, plus multiple 6-figure yearling sales and 2-year-old sales up to $1.2 million. Proven on the track, proven in the sales ring. Liam's Map, only at Lane's End.
How does horse racing support New York's economy? It's responsible for 19,000 jobs and more than $3 billion in annual statewide economic impact. These good-paying jobs support working families across the state and sustain thousands of small businesses both on and off the track. Horse racing in New York means jobs and opportunities now and in the future. We are New York Horse Racing.
Back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. The snow still coming down in Hot Springs. We still have the finale coming up, and we talked about going to break. Derby prep coming up tomorrow. It's the area race of the week. Weather could be a factor out there as well in Oaklawn, Florida.
They were talking about half an inch of rain early on in the day. I've seen reports that look for a sloppy track early on with the promising outlook that it could be upgraded throughout the day. And the Tampa Bay Derby is race 11.
Classic Causeway. He is the one to beat going in. Sam F. Davis went off the favorite, and they didn't mess around. They tried something in that Kentucky Jockey Club, sitting off the pace. They didn't mess around on the Sam F. Davis.
No, they didn't, and it paid off dividends. This horse just looks so happy being on the front end. This is what he wants to do. This is how he wants to do it. Look, you know, it's the Tampa Bay Derby. It's one step at a time, but there do look to be several horses that could make it to the Kentucky Derby that want to have that same type of running style. But I think he's posted well. Again tomorrow, he looks to be able to control more than likely in this spot, and we'll see how he negotiates a wet track. I mean, that's probably, if it does end up being that way, that might be the biggest question mark with him.
He looks like he should be able to control in this race. I mean, it sets up beautifully for him to be the horse in front.
Yeah, and that's clearly what he wants to do, though. He'll be facing some new faces. We saw Shipsational in there, the New York bred for Eddie Barker, make his 3-year-old debut, and I thought ran very well in defeat.
Some interesting supporting cast in this group, but it kind of goes through him as you take a look at horses trying to pull off the Sam F. Davis Tampa Bay Derby double. Last one to do it was Destin back in 2016.
Well, you don't often see horses. Well, it is a tough thing to do, but a lot of times you kind of see connections opting for a different spot to prep for the Derby. Since we're so far out from the Kentucky Derby, I think a lot of times trainers want to have that kind of nice month out type of setup for the Kentucky Derby, for the Run for the Roses. So I think sometimes you don't often see horses running back in the Tampa Bay Derby.
Meanwhile, you got a horse coming in for Todd Pletcher, Windstar Farm, who is undefeated and is going to be making his 3-year-old debut. That is Major General with more. Let's go to Gary.
Yeah, guys, Major General coming off absence since September of last year when he won the Grade 3 Iroquois going a mile and a 16th. So obviously distance, at least going 2 turns, not a question there. Question is, coming off the layoff, well, Todd Pletcher's not going to lead one off the bench that's not fully fit. He's got the horses to match him up with in the mornings. He's had a steady diet of workouts at Palm Beach Downs. I look for him to come in fit. And listen, he showed good speed sprinting in his first out. Took him gate to wire in that race. So he's got tactical speed as well. Most Todd Pletchers do. They're good gate horses. So I would look for him to be sitting just off of the pace. and I think that he'll probably handle a sloppy racetrack, but looking forward to seeing him back on track in the Tampa Bay Derby tomorrow, guys.
There it is, lightly raced, and he's going to have, you know, at most 2 shots to try and qualify for this Kentucky Derby. But yeah, Gary's right. Interesting, because that sprint debut, I mean, he was the speed of that sprint when he won first time out.
And, you know, I agree with everything that Gary said. His works at Palm Beach Downs look to be very good. They're consistent and they're fast to boot. And he's a son of Constitution, and he'll likely handle the off track. But I found a really interesting stat for Todd Pletcher. For a 2 to 6 month layoff, coming back in dirt routes in graded stakes, he's only 6 for 51. That's not Todd Pletcher's stats. 12% with a negative ROI. So I thought that was just a little food for thought.
What about his stats in this race?
Which are great.
They're pretty good. In the Tampa Bay Derby, here's a look at all his victories. Taprit back in 2017, who would have a major impact on the Triple Crown. Taking the Belmont, Destin, Carpe Diem, Verrazano, Limehouse, his winners in the Tampa Bay Derby. We'll see if he can add another. Major General Javier Castellano will be back aboard. Cross Country Pick 5, of course, coming back on the weekend, and this race is part of that sequence. Begins with the Florida Oaks, the Columbia, includes the Correction here in New York, Tampa Bay Derby, and then from Oaklawn, the Grade 2 Azeri is going to close it out. Begins at 4:21 Eastern Time. And you can find that on NYRA XC5 for that cross-country wager. As we told you, nightcap still coming up out at Oaklawn. And you're going to close out the card with a Arkansas-bred maiden special weight 6 furlong sprint. I like this race to close things out in here. Right now it's the 6 who's favored, Forsaken.
What?
Blinkers coming off. Horse who actually has shown sprint speed, but it's going to cut back in distance.
I'm not sure. I would find it highly surprising if this horse ends up going off as favorite. Wouldn't you, Greg? He's run races at times which are fast enough, don't get me wrong. But isn't Evie Sherman much the horse to beat here?
I think the horse to beat. I actually like the 6 a little bit, but at the price, I do not at all.
Yeah, right.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
One a little interesting, debuting from the rail. The dam was actually won the Rainbow Miss at Oaklawn.
So had some precocity.
Gentleman's Jet, Ron Moquette.
Could show some more speed.
Skyped actually faced Garhole last time out. He's probably going to face Open Company next out.
Yeah, who won his Arkansas bred stake with a 91 buyer.
He's won 4 in a row. Mo Vodka, 16-1 went by, and here is Forsaken.
Yeah, Forsaken, blinkers coming off, turning back in distance. I don't know if I love that combination, but at least he has that stamina built in with that route race last time.
First timer here, Dam's first full.
Race day hits with 14% with his older first-time starters, though.
Speed, you would think, with that a party.
That is right, has yet to sustain that speed, though.
Kiss of the Nile, Dwayne Lucas, second-time starter.
Another one that could have speed in here, but just really is going to have to find more.
45-1. The Dam actually did produce a 6-time winner. This is a debuter.
Yeah, by that popular Arkansas sire, Ordained.
And here is it Ev Sherman or Evie Sherman?
Because Elizabeth Villafranco's
there you go.
I'd say. But it's had a good trip. Could never get to the favored winner, though, last time.
5-1, Bellamy's Roan, contender as well, off the AE list.
I mean, given the last race, almost makes him the horse to beat. Just beaten 3/4 of a length to Top Road Rules, but is another one turning back in distance. And we'll see, does have enough speed to keep him in contention from the outside post position.
So, yeah, you're probably right. The 11 to 13, off their recency, probably the 2 to beat. You're getting 5-1 on that 13. Remember, they also eligibles in here. You can play this race. Sign up with NYRA Bets. That's the promo code to use at sign up for new members. Stakes 200. That's the website, NYRABets.com, or you can download that NYRA Bets app as well. Play this nightcap and all this fantastic action we have coming up over the weekend. Let's go to Gary Stevens. Dwayne Lucas. Gary, he's got one long shot in here. He's also got one of the best 3-year-old fillies in the country.
Yeah, and he's also got a regular rider of Secret Oath aboard this one right here. This one's no Secret Oath. But one thing about riding for Wayne Lucas, you know that every horse that you get on that barn has the opportunity to either be a Derby horse or an Oaks horse, and you never give up that hope. And I sure never with this filly right here, Winning Colors. What a thrill that was. Coming back after that race, I told Jacinto Vasquez, hey, I'm going to win the Kentucky Derby on this filly. He says, you don't even know what it takes to win the Derby, but you've always, when you're riding for Wayne Lucas, you have the potential that for a guy that knows how to get to the biggest dances, no matter if it's the Derby, the Oaks, or any Grade 1 across the country. He reinvented this game of flying horses around the country, the first one to do it, had satellite operations everywhere. It was a good spot to be in. I'm sure it's a great spot if you're Louis Contreras to be in the spot he's in right now, riding Secret Oak in her next race. Guys.
And we're waiting to hear what that next race is going to be. She's been so talented, Secret Oath, that D. Wayne Lucas has more than hinted that maybe she's going to tackle the boys in the Arkansas Derby.
Yeah, I mean, but the way that the point system is in place now, it kind of makes more sense, at least leading up to the Oaks, at least my personal opinion, to stick with your own sex. But I get it. I mean, prove that she's the best, because I've been ultra impressed with what I've seen. And furthermore, the male division of the 3-year-olds in Arkansas for once in a long time seems as though it's a little bit on the weaker side.
Yeah, maybe too. That's part of the reason he might lean Oaks with her, though, because he has Ethereal Road. That's going to point to that Arkansas Derby. He looked very impressive last start.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I was up here, I think, with Lafitte watching him break his maiden, and that was like kind of an otherworldly performance, although it garnered a slower figure. But he trumped that with his performance in the Rebel.
Regardless what happens with what race she goes to, and who knows, maybe we'll see her down the line in the Preakness. That a lot of fillies seem to run really well in that race, but she's exciting to watch.
She's very exciting.
And she, with no Echo Zulu on the scene right now, she might be the one to beat.
I completely agree, because Echo Zulu's only, had 2 or 3 works back, so I don't think she's making the Kentucky Oaks this year.
Nightcap coming up. Vic Stauffer, the call. The 11, F. Sherman. The 13, Bellamy's Roan. 2 main contenders in this spot here on the snowy conditions here on this Friday card to close it out.
Macer the Racer, Evie's Sherman up next. The last 2 to load will be the Bus and Bellamy's Roan. They're at the post. They're set. Something going on behind the gate. Can't tell what it is. Here's one that's backed out. It's the Bus who has backed out. May have never gotten in, not sure. Bellamy's Roan to the outside. They're off. Forsaken and Gentleman's Jet Break. Well, Bellamy's Roan in the center. At a Party is close up. Then comes Mo Vodka with Skyped. The Bus is next. Then Macer the Racer and Bill Hill, followed by Betty's Cash, and the trailer up the backstretch is Kiss of the Nile. Forsaken has taken the lead going into the far turn. He's a half length in front of a 3-wide Bellamy's Roan. Between horses goes At a Party, and they run into the far turn with Forsaken narrowly in front. Evie's Sherman, the 3-year-old, is 3 deep, and further out is Bellamy's Roan, and these three are across the track. Then a length and a half to At a Party. Mo Vodka is next. Top of the turn, Bellamy's Roan and Forsaken. They are the two at the top of the lane, with Evie's Sherman right there between horses. These three going to the top of the stretch. Forsaken is inside. Evie's Sherman and a 3-wide, make it 4-wide Bellamy's Roan, and now we have a clear-cut leader. It is Bellamy's Roan at the top of the stretch, and now he is suddenly 3.5 lengths in front of Evie's Sherman. Forsaken will be all out to finish third, and Bellamy's Roan is just running away, and he's putting in a big performance here. Betty's Cash up into second, Bellamy's Roan in front. Bellamy's Roan won by 6. Betty's Cash got second. Kiss of the Nile might have just beaten Skyped for third.
Bellamy's Roan, dominant performance, 10th time out the win, and as we heard from Gary Stevens earlier in the program, a rider we're going to be seeing here in New York pretty soon, Ramon Vasquez.
Actually, I think it was a rider change.
Oh, was it?
I think. I thought it was Giovanni Franco.
Oh, it was Franco? Okay, my bad.
Well, still, you mentioned Gary, and that's his rider. So, congratulations to Gary. Way to close it out. Am I right or wrong? Or is it safe?
Yeah, it was Giovanni Franco.
Okay. But as we mentioned, Greg, this is a horse that was turning back, coming off a somewhat short layoff here. But boy, it proved to be the right move for Ron Westerman and Giovanni Franco, as he's just really found his form. I mean, that last race made him much the horse to beat. It was just, was he going to recreate it?
Much the best in here. And backs up the, was coming in off the best performance of his career last time out, in his 9th time out. Takes a while sometimes. Found the right field, and I guess he liked the snow. Bellamy's Roan, the victory to close out this card in Hot Springs. Prices for you when we come back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Run Happy, the #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire, and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse Champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Go for Gin has another gear. As Bailey asks him for more, he gives it, and Go for Gin spurts away in an instant to a 4-length lead.
Aerovente's been left behind in second. Down inside, Linkatarian is third, and then it's King of Colchis fourth, and the others have been left behind. The wake of a sharp performance here by Go for Gin, who rolls through the stretch at the Big A today. Go for Gin impressively. He won by 7. He could have won by more.
New Yorkers remember Go for Gin. He won the Remsen in New York as a 2-year-old. Of course, beat Holy Bull in the Kentucky Derby in his 3-year-old campaign. Was the oldest living Kentucky Derby winner. Passed away earlier this week due to heart failure at Kentucky Horse Park, where he had lived since retiring from stud duty back in 2011.
And he's still great, too. A horse that, my husband's barn is the same as Nick Zito's, and his plaque still hangs outside Nick's barn, barn 12 at Belmont Park for the Kentucky Derby. And a horse that, really kind of put Nick on the map a little bit more so. He just became one of the characters of racing, and, sad to see him go, but boy, did he live a fulfilled life.
Was a great ambassador of that Kentucky Horse Park for 11 years, was one of the visitor favorites. And what a resume he was able to put together. Retired from stud duty, as we mentioned, back in 2011. Go for Gin, 1994 Kentucky Derby winner. Again, we're going to be on that path to first Saturday in May, on Saturday with the Tampa Bay Derby. Let's first wrap up prices. Bellamy's Roan taking the nightcap. Also eligible, drawing in here. Wins for Ron Westerman. Giovanni Franco aboard.
Well, they say a gray on a rainy day. Well, it's a gray on a snowy day to cap things off here. Son of Macho Rocket, this Arkansas bred. And Greg, he hinted in his last 2 performances at Oaklawn that he could do this. And boy, he just trumped this card, this field, of maiden special weight horses. And not a bad trifecta there. Getting a 39-to-1 shot for the coach.
Yeah, D. Wayne, wow. Pick 5, healthy. Tough one to have today.
Yeah.
Wow. Pick 4 over 2,000 also. So card in the books. Again, it's kind of wait and see what happens tomorrow with the track, but we have that big one in the distaff division. And again, road to that Kentucky Derby going through Oldsmar, Florida tomorrow. Grade 2 Tampa Bay Derby. Classic Causeway. Will he get things his own way on the front end? Irad Ortiz Jr., Brian Lynch. Credit the connections, too. They gave it a chance trying something different with him to see if he could rate. It didn't work out, and they said, let's go back to what works with him.
Well, you always kind of want to have that in your back pocket. Can you rate? You hope, but they've done what suits him best, and that's go to the lead. We'll see that tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have it for you live tomorrow. We will see you 1 Eastern start time, weather permitting. Check your local listings. On Fox Sports 2, it was Shalimar Gardens disappointed at 2-5 last time out. Comes right back at the same condition and gets it done at 1-5. How about acting out on the front end in the snow? Off the bench for the victory in the feature at Oaklawn. And we'll see if Classic Causeway can continue on that path to the Derby for Brian Lynch. We'll see you tomorrow.